All right. Hello, everyone. Tonight we are playing Vampire Next Door. We have two guests joining us on the Lamias, which we are very excited about. So let's start with some brief introductions and maybe say a little bit about your character. And we're going to do proper where you can find everyone at the end. So let's start with Rosie.
Hello, I am Rosie Beggerler-Sai's mom, and tonight I am going to be playing Essie. She is 14, and she's not happy about being stuck here with her little cousins. They're so boring, and she's so cool now.
And Ben?
Hi, Ben, Big Dad of Big Dad Industries. Happy to be here. Happy to be playing Essie's cousin, Alan, who loves books. That's his whole personality.
And of course, we have Faye with us.
Hello, yes, I'm Faye, also known as the Hat is here, and I am playing Chloe, the 13-year-old cousin to both Essie and Alan, who is a massive anime fan. Only got into it in the last couple of years, but now her entire personality is being a weeb.
And I am Alexandra, and I'm running this game and trying to do something light and fun. So let's hope that will go well. So to start, our game is set in July 2008 in the little village of Wymton-on-Tee. It is a lovely, idyllic place in north of England. And for those who like the outdoors, it can be quite a nice place to spend holidays. There are a lot of things to do if you like that sort of stuff. There's some woods you can go to, and there's ponds you can swim in, there's hills and fields you can run around and go on biking escapades. But to some of the kids who have been sent here for holidays yet again, it is becoming a little bit of a boring place, and some of them might be feeling that they are a bit too old to be spending summer with grandma and grandpa, and they have more important things to do back at home. But some love coming to spend some time with the family and be fed delicious crumbles and other baked goods by Grandpa Jim. But you didn't get much choice in the matter. Your parents decided you're all going there to meet your cousins and spend time with your grandparents. And here you are in Wymton-on-Tee. This summer has been a bit different, though. First of all, you notice that there is a new neighbor who moved into a strangely modern house near your grandparents' cottage. It's your next door neighbor, Mr. Alucard, or Vlad, as he likes to be called, is a very handsome, if somewhat eccentric man. But more importantly, you are, by this point, pretty sure that something is wrong with him. You never saw him during the day. You only see these blinds put down in his house. You're pretty sure he turned into a bat one night when you saw him in the garden. And one evening, on the way home, you came across him on the outskirts of the village, and his face was covered in something red. He nonchalantly claimed he had some raspberries, and it got a bit messy. But you are not so sure you're smarter than that. In fact, you are at this stage pretty sure that Vlad is a vampire, and that the wild animal attacks on livestock and recently also on a person, Mr. Barnsby, who has been rushed off to hospital, you don't think these were animal attacks. You think it was a vampire, Mr. Alucard, who picked Wymton-on-Tee as his feeding ground. But it seems that nobody can see it, even though he walks around in this bizarre white frilly shirt with red cravat and dark flowy coats. People think he's some sort of an artist. All the adults in the village act as if nothing was going on. But you know better. And you know that to help your grandparents and people in the village, you need to collect some evidence to finally convince people and show them what is happening and what kind of a danger everyone is in. So, in order to do that, you had a plan. You were prepared to observe Vlad's house this evening. And when he appears, you wanted to follow him, watch, maybe record something obviously vampiric with your digital camera or your phone that takes some kind of photos and some kind of videos. Quality isn't great, but it's modern technology is the best there is. So you were all set, hiding in the bushes near your house. Unfortunately, your grandma Doreen spotted you there, told you off for skulking like that and scaring people, and told you to come home for dinner immediately and wouldn't take no for an answer. So you were brought into the house, and just as you were going back in, you just glimpsed Vlad leaving his house, but you had to go and sit there for the dinner and sit there for the dessert. It was a pretty tasty dessert, but still you had other stuff going on. On top of that, your auntie, Helen, who runs a small cafe near the church that your grandparents used to run before, showed up asking you lots of questions about how you're enjoying the summer, how is the school, how is everything with your life. It took forever. And by the time you were allowed to go upstairs and left alone finally, Vlad was long gone. You have no idea where exactly he went right now. And you have to make a new plan and decide what to do. So right now, you are sitting, and I rolled for that, in Alan's room. There would be this old-style furniture, wooden ones, some blue bedding that grandma set out for the grandson. Is there anything else that Alan would have put there?
I want to sleep in the basement.
Let's say you're in the basement. Sure, why not?
There's a tower, a precarious leaning tower of books. Almost all like science fiction and fantasy. Man, I really put myself in a hole here by just saying his entire personality is books.
You brought 2 suitcases and they were all books.
There's lots of books.
No, not that many books. I dump physicality. He couldn't carry that.
Well, parents drove you here in a car.
Yeah. It's pretty. It's clean. It's very clean.
And you all went there, quite full from dinner, probably too full from being fed too much, various sweets and generally too much food by your grandparents. Your plan's kind of ruined.
I mean, we could maybe try and sneak out.
I mean, they won't like that, but they're already mad at us, so they can't get more mad, right?
I mean, only if we get caught.
Let's just stuff blankets under our blankets.
Right. That's what pillows are for. And we've got like spare clothes. We can use those.
But I only have one of these.
Well, then you're going to have to put it on a pillow. They'll never believe you are not sleeping in your sweater vest.
Then what will I wear?
A shirt?
I can lend you a hoodie.
No.
Okay, so your sweater vest match your shirt anyway. No one's going to know you're not wearing the sweater vest.
Well, what if I get slightly chilly?
I got nothing for you.
Have you thought about some fashionable arm warmers? They can keep you quite cozy.
Arm warmer. That's a lot like sleeves.
It's a lot like, it's kind of like a sweater vest, but for your arm.
It seems like the antithesis of a sweater vest, though.
Okay, sweater vest aside, this is not like we've got to deal with Mr. Alucard. Like,
Yeah. So we could wait for him to come back. Like, sneak out and wait for him to come back. Maybe he'll come back as a bat.
alternatively, I mean, we could always go into his back garden and like have a nosy around.
Yeah, we could definitely break in and check out.
Whoa. We didn't say anything about that.
I guess we could look in windows then.
Yeah, because it's night now, so the blinds should be up, surely.
All right. So I guess we all go to bed and then sneak out. Storyteller, is it a single level house? Is it 2 floors?
It's 2 floors. It's the ground floor and one more floor. Well, now, since it's been decided Alan's room is in the basement, you are in the basement room. So there's also that. You are right now in the basement.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out, like, if
Yeah.
I'm going to have to
there's-
shimmy down a drain pipe or something like that, or if the bedrooms are on the first floor.
Yes, you would have to do that.
Okay, that's fine.
Or try to just be very quiet when your grandparents go to sleep, but you know your grandma Doreen is still doing some painting. She took up watercolor painting in retirement and she's really obsessed with it right now. So she might still be doing that in the living room.
I mean, I'm up for trying to climb down a drain pipe.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
I'm going to try to squeeze through one of those basement windows.
So that is what's happening, right? You go upstairs as
Yeah.
if you were going to your rooms to sleep. And you're gonna be climbing down.
Making sure first to make the bed look as though there's someone in there. And
Yeah.
to be honest, I've probably got like a really crappy Party City bright pink wig, which is probably sticking out from under the blanket.
I get like
Who's wearing that wig to bed again?
Yeah.
I get like a mop and sort of stick that in, and so the mop like has like hair. At least in the darkness. Hopefully they'll buy that. I mean, what? They can't really see anyway. They're like what, 90?
Well, they're like around their late 70s.
That's
They can
the same
see.
thing to Essie.
Yes, probably.
She assumes they're pretty much blind. So yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. What is Alan doing?
Alan is stuffing clothes under there, making sure everything is neat and tidy, putting a blanket over it, putting a book next to it, looks like passed out while reading, and then trying to squeeze through one of those like little half basement windows.
All right, so let's start us all off with the first roll. That will be physicality for you all. But let's say normal difficulty. That's gonna be 6.
Great
I'm rolling
news.
at these.
I have a 6.
So you have a 6,
I have a
right?
6, yes.
Okay, so you climb down.
I got a 6.
Hey!
I got a 7 on my D8.
Hey!
Awesome. So you all succeed. Alan manages to get himself up to the window and not get stuck. He feels like almost going to get stuck, maybe misjudging the angles there. But you get through. And Chloe and Essie climb down the pipes with not much issue, not making much noise. more importantly as well. And you are now in the garden. The garden is quite busy place. Your grandpa, Jim, loves gardening. He's growing all sorts of fruit in there. So there's lots of different bushes. There's raspberry, there's blackberry, there's gooseberry, there's some apple trees and pear trees. So it is quite like an area with a lot of places to hide and sneak through. Not that you necessarily need it now, but just in case.
Oh, who has the camera?
I'll take it.
Oh, there's the camera, the walkie-talkies,
Yeah.
and the Sony Ericsson.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what you have, and you can pick who has what.
I'm used to having a camera at conventions, so I'll be enthusiastically using that. Oh, you're muted.
You muted.
I'll take one of the walkie-talkies.
I will keep the other.
All right, okay.
Yeah, you guys are little. You should stay together.
We're not that little.
I'm taller
You're-
than you.
You're only
Because
a
when
year
you wear
older.
those boots.
It makes all the difference.
Yeah, the boots. Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
I've seen you fall in them.
I ignore the conversation and go and try and find a way to get into Mr. Alucard's garden.
It's not that hard. It's right next to this garden, so you can get over a fence without much issue. And yes, you find yourself in the garden of his house.
Mission success.
Okay. Does it look like there's any fresh graves or anything? I don't know what a kid would do.
No. As you look around the garden, it is it's not as well maintained as your grandparents' garden.
Few are.
No, few are. It's a bit like left to its own devices. The lawn has been mowed like a while back, but now has sort of grown a bit wild again. There isn't really much in here. You can walk up to the house. The house used to be an old stone cottage, but it has been converted into a more modern house, fused with this old architecture. This a bit experimental, a bit strange. There's been renovations apparently going for several months before the summer, when Vlad or Mr. Alucard was about to move in. You see that the lights are off at the moment in the house, but the blinds are up, so you can walk up right to the house. And as you walk up to the house, you don't really, like, it's quite quiet right now in the village. It's quite late. It's not particularly warm night, but it's not freezing, but it is getting a little bit chilly. There's a little bit of wind. I'm assuming you want to look through the windows.
Yes.
So on the ground level, this house also has ground floor and the first floor, like the cottage of your grandparents. And where you are at the moment, you can see through the window into a living room. It looks fairly modern, very tidy. There's some furniture, some sofas, some armchair. There's a huge TV. There's some shelves that are empty. There's nothing really on them. You can move along to another window. You look what looks to be the kitchen. You don't really see many cooking implements anywhere out in there. But it looks like an ordinary enough kitchen. Through the windows, you can't make up that much. You do see that the window upstairs is slightly open, and there is a tree growing near the house from which you could try to reach that window.
You said there were renovations happening on the house. Is there any like scaffolding for like painters?
Oh no,
or
that was
work?
before. That
Oh,
was
okay,
before.
okay.
It was being redone. Like it was just sort of wrapping up when you arrived.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, do we want to try and... You mentioned breaking in, Essie. Do we want to try?
Sure,
window?
I can try climbing the tree
Does
and
he have
then
a car?
what?
Does Mr. Alucard have a car? If so, is it in the driveway?
There is no car in the driveway.
Cool. Second question: is there like a trellis for like vines and things?
There
Like,
is a tree.
There's a
Okay.
tree. There isn't anything.
I'm not good at climbing trees, so I will not.
There isn't anything like going on the house. There's a tree near it. It looks climbable. Not the easiest tree to climb, maybe, but it's perfectly doable.
Okay, let's try
All
that.
right.
Yeah.
That's again physicality.
I will be lookout.
Difficulty 6.
Ha! 6.
Nice.
Nice. So you manage to climb the tree. You get there, not much problem. You start moving on one of the branches towards the window. You have to be fairly careful, but you do it without much problem. Sorry, you're gonna say something.
I have a question for our goth. What kind of shoes are you wearing? I'm just imagining you with like platform boots trying to climb a tree.
I mean, what I was thinking were like black chucks, but I don't know what goths, emos in 2002 would use as footwear.
Converses was a big one.
Okay, black Converse probably. She's
So,
not
what you
going
thought?
to what?
So what you thought?
I was pretty close.
You know, that's exactly it.
Cool. There you go.
So you can climb the tree in black Converse, no problem. You reach the window and you can open it and go in. When you look in, just before going in, you see that the room appears to be a bedroom. There is quite a simple bed with a simple wooden frame. Looks fairly freshly made. There's some bed sheets on it and a pillow. And again, there are some empty shelves here, but it doesn't look like there's much more in this room.
Okay. Were we planning on having my cousins follow me up the tree, or am I going down to let them in?
There's no way I can climb that tree.
I can probably climb after you.
Well, then
I mean,
if
Alan's staying lookout.
then yeah, you should climb up and.
I'm
Yeah,
keeping
cool.
I'm keeping the walkie-talkie. What do you see inside? Over.
I'm good. Oh, sorry.
It's a bedroom.
I'm gonna attempt
You
to
have
climb
to
up
say
after.
over when you're done, Black Widow. Over.
I'm also going to attempt to climb the tree.
I'm assuming Essie doesn't even respond to the last line. Yeah. Okay. Chloe, physicality.
I've rolled a 10.
No problem at all. You jump up that tree. You climb very gracefully, very quickly. And you just see as your cousin, it looks almost unnatural how easy it is for her. And yeah, I assume both girls disappear inside the house.
Just cousins doing crime together.
It's all bonding.
Yeah, it's a
And
bonding exercise.
That's 100%
Absolutely.
what we're going to tell our grandparents if we get caught. We were bonding.
Yeah, right? I just love the idea that you're blending into the darkness of the shadows of this house, and I am in bright pink and white. So
let's start with the two of you who went in. You are in this room. It doesn't appear to be very much in here. Do you want to go down to try to let Alan in, or do you want to just investigate the upper floor?
I think do some investigation since he's staying lookout.
Yeah.
Because we don't want people to come back.
Yeah.
While we're
All
busy.
Right. I'm gonna say for the general how much you find. Roll your luckiness.
Oh boy.
That's a good stat for me.
Difficulty is going to be, for now, 6.
Okay. I somehow got a 6 on that.
Yeah.
6.
Yay!
You both got a 6. So you start looking around the upper floor of the house. You find another bedroom very similar to that one. Again, looking like bed is freshly made. There's nothing there. You find that one door that is locked. But you also find another bathroom that looks a bit dusty. You don't really see much. Like, there is a towel there and there is some soap, but not really much more.
So vampires don't pee. Got it.
Yeah. Or shave, or, well, I guess they could, but
I mean, I guess they're dead. But it's nice that they wash themselves, I guess. I don't think that would be really bad.
Otherwise, I presume he'd smell of blood. That doesn't.
Yeah.
But as you are sort of rummaging through, there's some like sets of drawers in another room that you find, and as you're rummaging through, you do find a set of keys, and one of the keys fits into the closed room.
Oh, nice.
And as you walk in, you see it looks like some sort of study. There's a big wooden desk in there. There are some papers lying around. There are some books here now. Most of them very nicely leather-bound books, looking to be various classics of literature.
Boring.
Yeah, you remember, this is sort of stuff they make you read at school. And in this place, there are in one of the on one of the shelves there is a nice set of porcelain. It's all quite nicely decorated. There are some drawers in the desk as well you can look through. What do you do as you enter this place?
I'll have pulled out the camera and just be kind of recording the room. We have a guest!
Awesome.
Sorry. Yeah. I guess going through the drawers.
All right. Essie, what are you doing?
I am convinced there's a secret passage, so I'm pulling out the books one by one.
So you're pulling out the books one by one. You don't find a secret passage in here, But as you are going through the drawers, Chloe, you do find what looks to be a journal, fairly thick book, that looks fairly old. Some of the pages are a little bit loose. They are sort of went yellow. The leather binding is kind of damaged in some places. There's definitely signs of tear and wear on this thing. It's fairly thick.
Put it out onto the desk and quite gently turn the pages while still holding the camera over it.
So as you're doing that, you do notice entries that are going back to the 1800s, describing the exploits in various cities. Some of it is from London, some of it is from Paris. It is describing encounters with various people. It is describing also some smaller places the author of those pages lived in. It is gloating about how stupid everyone there is, how they don't see anything, how almost boring and easy it is every time to feed on them.
I just gesture at the book in a sort of, I mean,
Essie goes over and looks and goes, "What do you find?"
like, I'm talking about feeding on things and it being really easy, and like, look at the dates on it.
Oh. So I guess we take this?
Like, do we take it or do we just film it and then? Because if we take it and he comes to try and write his next diary entry, he's gonna know that somebody was in here.
Well, how's it going in there?
Jesus.
Over.
You gonna
We
tell him?
found his diary.
Does he have a cat?
Not as far as we can find, but yeah, we have a diary.
Is there anything cool in it?
Do you count eating people as being cool?
I mean, it's kind of cool. Over.
Okay, so I guess we can leave it here, but if they believe us, then they'll do something regardless.
Wait, storyteller.
Yeah.
Would our in the terms of the game, would our grandparents count this as one of the 4 pieces of evidence we need to find? Like,
Yeah,
if we
it
have
would
a
be
picture of
one.
it,
On its own, it's not going to do much. You can have a picture
no, I
of
mean
it,
like
you
a
can take
picture
it.
of it versus actually having it.
I think a picture of it or a recording of it would be enough.
Okay. In which case, I will just have. I mean, I was holding the camera through the whole thing, so I imagine there's going to be some pages that are not well in focus because I am not a professional filmmaker.
Yeah.
But the camera quality is. But there's definitely the more interesting pages. I will have like made sure that I got it in focus, even if it took like 10 minutes to get the thing to download.
I'm not going to make you roll for this. Let's say it takes a little bit of time to make sure it's in focus. Meanwhile, Alan, you're waiting outside.
Keeping watch.
You're keeping watch. It's very quiet. It's a small village. There isn't that much life going on. Most of it centers around local pub, and you can occasionally hear voices, just raised voices of someone either laughing there or like shouting something to somebody. It's not clear enough to make out any words, but you know, people are out there. The other community hub is the church that is right next to your grandparents' cottage, where There a cafe used to be that is now run by your Auntie Helen. And from there is silence. There's not much going on in there right now.
In my mind, the village looks like Sanford from Hot Fuzz.
Sort of, yeah.
Oh god.
The greats are good.
The greats are good.
As you were waiting, you do notice some bats flying by.
I just saw a bunch of bats. Over.
Are the
So
bats-
you're still recording. You're
Yeah.
quite busy recording.
Okay.
I don't know if it's him or not, but over.
Okay. Is
You're
there
supposed to say over. Over.
is there anywhere else in the house for us to explore?
Yes, you can go downstairs. You haven't yet. So if you want to, you can go and explore downstairs.
Yes.
Right. So you start heading downstairs as Chloe stays upstairs to continue recording. And before that, Alan, please roll your luckiness with difficulty 6.
Okay, let me just scroll up to my. I should really write these down so I have to keep. Hey, I have a D12 in this.
Hey!
Watch me screw it up.
Woo!
I got a 7.
Woo!
All right. Okay. So you do notice actually, going along the street as you're standing there in the garden, not Vlad, but Mr. Fletcher, whom you know very well. People say he used to be a policeman. Now you mostly know him for his desire to keep order in the village and his walks that he sometimes calls patrols.
Oh, he's a snoop.
Yeah, he got into your way many times. He told you off for shouting, running, all sorts of stuff like that. And you see him on one of his regular walks, strolling down the street near the house.
Are any lights or anything visible from the inside, or? Like-
Would you have turned on the lights? I assume you must have some kind of light to
Maybe
feel.
Chloe turned on like a desk lamp or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
There should be
I probably would have shut the door to the main room.
Did you
Yeah.
close the window behind you when you came in?
No, because that's at the back, isn't it?
Okay. I don't know how much of a
Yeah.
scoop this guy
No,
is.
the light is not visible.
So, like, I just have to hide now, right?
Yeah, you have to hide now.
Uh-oh. It's Mr. Fletcher. I gotta go hide. Would you like me to roll?
For that, roll your physicality
Fuck.
to see if you
How
can
about
dive on
creativity? How about creativity?
creativity. Okay, so how are you making it creative?
I'm gonna hide in the rubbish bins.
I'm gonna let you have that. Roll your creativity.
8.
Okay, so you
Why
actually
am I rolling so high? I do not like this.
going to turn at some point. Maybe not. Maybe you're just gonna keep rolling very high.
We'll find out.
So you dive into a rubbish bin, not being able to think of any other idea. It's not very nice. There's not that much in there, but there is this kind of old bin smell all around you as you hide there.
Why doesn't he have any trash?
There's just some papers, some receipts. There's nothing like that interesting.
There's no
Unless
like food products in here.
No, there's no food products in here. Right.
Update. I'm in a trash can. Over.
Why are you in the bins? In fact, I'm not there.
Yeah, you're there.
I don't have a walkie-talkie.
So I have walkie-talkie. So why?
Really, you have to say over when you're done talking, or else I won't know when you're done talking. Over.
Why over?
So I could hide. Over.
Is Alucard back? Over?
No, it's Mr. Fletcher. He's just as bad, if not worse. Over.
Understood. Over.
I can just hear that little piece of her soul dying every time she has to say over.
So, having learned all that, Essie, I assume that's happening as you're sort of going down the stairs,
Yeah.
and you finish that conversation as you reach the ground floor. You are in the living room now. You see there's a kitchen, there's another bathroom in here, there's some storage room, there's another storage room under the stairs, there's some shelves, again, that are pretty empty. The huge TV, the kind you don't have at your grandparents' house, is here. There's a computer that looks better than the one you have at your grandparents' house as well. What do you wish to do? What is your thinking in here?
The upstairs bathroom wasn't really used. Is the downstairs bathroom used?
You go into the downstairs bathroom. You find a little bit more stuff in here. There's some powder. There's more sort of cleaning and beauty products. There's some towels.
Okay. Is there any food in the fridge or the kitchen?
So you go into the kitchen. There's no food in the fridge. There's again, it looks very clean, the kitchen. There are some, like, when you open the cupboards, you find some plates stashed in there and some cooking pots. One of them, like, some of them still have their tags from the shop on them. They don't appear to have been used at all. Other than that, there's sink, there's washing machine, there's there's the fridge, there's a little table.
Okay, so he's on that liquid diet. All right. I'm still trying to figure out where he's actually sleeping. So, looking around for a stereotypical coffin, I guess. Unless he's sleeping on, like, the floor of a bathtub. But that's not really cool.
Okay, so roll your luckiness. This time with difficulty 8.
4.
Okay, 4. So you start sort of rummaging through, looking for some kind of secret passage or something.
It could be under the sink.
You never know.
Chloe, you start hearing a bit of noise coming from downstairs, and Alan, you start hearing a bit of, like, someone closing, like, shutting the door a bit too hard. Maybe you, like, drop a plate or something. It it breaks on the floor.
What was that? Over.
I dropped something. Over.
Was it vampire related? Over.
No. Over.
Chloe, do you respond to this in any way? You are sort of almost done. You have, like, you think you have some of the pages. You won't be able to go through the whole journal necessarily in focus.
If I think I've got the most exciting pages captured, then
I think, yes, by now you have sort of solid account recorded or photographed.
Yep.
Recorded. You were recording, right?
Yep. In which case, I will end the recording, go back to the start, double check where the book was, and then put it back where it was put back, and then quietly make my way downstairs, sort of trying to listen in case the noise was somebody coming back. Because
So, as this is happening, Alan, are you still in the bin?
I'm like peeking out the top now.
Roll your luckiness again.
like an oversized raccoon.
That is a 6.
So, you kind of pick and there's nothing there. You see Mr. Fletcher moving almost past the house. So you hide for a little bit more. You look again, the street is empty. That's sort of where the noise starts from the house. You have a little conversation with Effie. And then you look again after a moment, and you see Mr. Alucard strolling along the street.
Code red, he's here, over.
Around this time, Chloe, you reach Essie to find her looking for everything. How are you feeling, Essie, not finding really anything?
I'm annoyed.
Are you good? Like, what are you doing?
I was trying to figure out where he actually sleeps, because, yeah.
Like, fair. We should maybe I start trying to sweep up the broken plate or whatever it was. Is that the moment where we get the code red?
Yes, around this time you get code red.
Okay.
I stuff the broken plate into my pocket, sort of heck, and then run, grab,
Back up.
yeah, grab Essie, and try and run back out the way we came in.
All right. So you run upstairs. Alan, what are you doing? You're still in the bin. Mr.
I know
is
he
coming
doesn't
back.
use this, so I'm saving you. He's wearing that big cape. There's no breeze and it's somehow moving as if there was. Over.
You'd think they would accept that as evidence.
Absolutely not.
Can we get out the window, please?
Yeah, you get to the window. You tried using the cape as evidence, but your grandma said it's always windy around here. My jacket almost blows away sometimes.
It's just us going, well, he's inside.
There must be a draft.
It's always a draft.
You do get to the window. And as you start climbing out, I would need you to roll physicality.
Yeah.
Again for it, with difficulty 8 this time, to do it quietly. Because you were, not with difficulty 8, but with a disadvantage. So you rolled twice because you were caught unaware, almost. You're trying to do it quickly. So you roll 2 dice and pick the lowest one.
Okay, my lowest is a 6.
I rolled an 8 and a 4.
Okay.
I saw it, and then it was gone.
So what is happening is Chloe, with not that much issue, jumps onto a branch of a tree and starts climbing down. Some of the pieces of a plate are trying to fall out of your pocket, but you manage to actually keep them in, and you get down. Essie, you are also climbing down, but one of you step on a branch that is a bit too small and it breaks under your leg, and you don't quite fall down, but you kind of slide down, scraping your arms a little bit. It makes a little bit of noise. Alan, you're in the bin, and you see Mr. Alucard walk into his garden and start heading towards the house. What's your plan there?
I'm going to wait for him to go inside and then run away very fast.
Okay. So
Hopefully
you're doing
he'll think
that,
it's a
and
raccoon.
he clearly takes out some keys, and around this time there is a little bit of noise, as if something was scraping down. tree and hit the ground.
Oh,
And
there
you
are no
see-
raccoons in the United Kingdom.
No, there aren't.
And you see,
Wait, then what goes through your garbage?
Foxes.
Maybe he'll think I'm some sort of fox.
In a sweater vest.
and at that, Mr. Alucard, you see him, he was about to go into the house, and he was like, oh, curious. And you see him kind of turn and start heading towards the back of the house.
Wait. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Ooh, ooh. And to be an owl. Ooh, ooh.
What's your intention behind this?
I want him to think it was an animal that did it.
Roll your creativity. Difficulty 8.
Oh no, 8. Got a 5.
Okay. So,
And if that doesn't work, I'm running.
so he pauses and then opens the garbage and looks at you. Gives you a smile. What do we have here? I mean, I've heard of people having low self-esteem, but that is quite something.
That is devastating to me. This isn't my room. I don't know what I'm doing here. You'll excuse me.
I think that
I
creates
wish you
enough
a
of a
good night,
distraction
sir.
for Essie and Chloe to get away if you want.
Great.
But you would have heard that conversation going on as you're getting away.
Head slightly peeking out from behind behind one of the bushes that I presume lines between the two gardens. Like, what? Okay. And then sort of going, oh crap, I don't want him to look over here. So finding a particular hiding spot in Grandma and Grandpa's back garden.
We will not let his sacrifice be in vain.
I give her that.
I get the feeling that Essie kind of wants to keep up with the vampire.
Well, it's every young ghost's dream.
Question, is
She's
Essie
not even denying it.
is Essie into Twilight? I need to know.
I mean, she's read them. She's not sure of the authenticity of them.
Fair.
So you're observing as Alan is trying to climb out of a garbage bin. There's no way to do this gracefully, so it is rather ungraceful.
Like falls over
Yes.
and rolls a bit.
Mr. Alucard is just watching. Right, kid. So, care to explain?
Not particularly, sir. What's that over there? And I'm hoping
Yeah,
he
right.
turns
Like
around.
I'm gonna fall for that trick. Just get out of my sight.
Yep, I'm gone. And I just run into like a hedge or something and disappear.
You just see him like laughing and shaking his head, completely unmoved by this, just kind of amused. And a bit bewildered at
That's
that
fair.
conversation.
Got away with it.
You get away with it. He is observing. Yeah, you see Alan running towards you. His self-esteem kind of injured, but apart from this, unharmed.
I was devastated.
Well, luckily, social combat is not part of this game.
No.
Isn't that what them calling our grandparents is?
Kind of,
I mean-
a little bit.
I don't have stats for that, though.
We don't have health trackers because we're immortal.
Because we're kids. That's why we don't have health trackers. You're not going to kill a kid.
Not in this game,
But
no.
Not in this game.
Not in
My mage game, maybe.
possibly.
So you reunite. Alan, you run up to your cousins who've been watching your encounter.
You smell of damp bin.
What? I don't smell of rotting food.
Well, I'm glad.
So what'd you find?
I filmed the book that's in his office. It's got some interesting pages about eating people. I mean, I feel like if we just had it by itself, then Grandma and Grandpa will just start going, "Oh, but he's just a writer. He's just like working on his novel or something."
I go to create a fic writing class.
One page.
And then he like takes his big cloak and does.
We 100% reenact this in our grandparents' garden before going.
Yeah, I that's what I imagined.
So I think we still need some more stuff, but like I think that's a pretty good starting point. And I need to go find a bin. I've got a bunch of plate in my pocket.
Yeah. Well, I mean, since it doesn't look like he uses the kitchen much, he probably won't notice the plate missing, so that's something.
Well, let's hope.
How much do we know about vampires, actually?
Just what I know from Twilight.
I've read and watched Vampire Nights, so my knowledge of vampires is that they date their siblings.
Oh, what about Vampire Diaries? Like, the books have been out, but like, what about the show?
I mean, that was like a Western book. I haven't read that.
I'm probably gonna go to the library tomorrow and see if, assuming there's a town library,
There is
see if
like a small library. It's run by your Auntie Jane, who's not your actual aunt. She's not a relative, but you've always called her an auntie, and she's a best friend of your grandma. She's this old woman with a lot of energy who is keeping a small library with all sorts of books she can find get donated in the church that also acts as a community center, and she's very much the center of the community center, keeping the place going. So there's all sorts of books there. You're never quite sure what's going to be there.
hopefully
there's also
book
the
on
option-
vampires.
Yeah, there may be something. There's also option of going on the internet.
All right,
It's a very
yeah.
slow internet in your grandparents' house.
We need to boot up our Windows 95 computer.
Yes.
I've tried installing MSN on there. It's been slow going. Mum and Dad banned me from putting LimeWire on it, but you know, after I got the last one infected with a horrible virus, but you know.
So, do you return to the house to go to sleep? Anything more you want to discuss?
I think we got very lucky.
So yeah, I think we need to get back inside.
So, to get back inside quietly.
Oh no.
Are you trying to climb up, or are you just trying to open the door and kind of go in?
I mean, what time would it be roughly at this point?
It would be, let's say, around midnight.
Okay. And Grandma and Grandpa are like early sleepers or late sleepers?
Your grandpa is fairly early sleeper. He keeps busy during the day. He works in the garden. He builds some stuff out of wood. He got into woodworking, or he is baking. So he's full of energy during the day, but drifts off to sleep fairly early. Your grandma tends to stay up longer. She enjoys watching some documentaries,
Game
some BBC. No, she watches documentaries. She's very into art now, so whenever there's something about art, she tries to watch it. She reads some books. She does like crosswords, puzzles. So she might still be up at this point, actually.
Okay, then no, not trying
There is
the front
actually
door.
light.
I
You
like
would see
the
light in
hard
the living
note in
room.
game shows.
Then yeah, trying to climb back up.
I physicality.
Sure, let's go.
I'm gonna squirm down.
Yep. Difficulty 6.
6.
Okay. 10 again for some reason.
A
You're
5.
5. Okay. So I'm gonna say that you do actually. Okay. So Chloe's up there, no problem. Clearly an experienced climber.
I've snuck out before.
I was pointing out this is not why I picked the basement. I figured they would put the grandson in the basement rather than the granddaughter.
That makes sense. By the way, if at any point your special skills come in, do let me know. Because they give you an advantage. And yeah, Essie, you're up. Not much problem. You're not quite as good at it as Chloe seems to be. It really seems like she's been climbing a lot. And Alan, as you managed to get through the window, but you kind of like miscalculate, and instead of standing, you drop on your ass.
Right into the pile
and it
of
makes
books.
a little bit of a noise. And you both hear just this thud as you enter your rooms upstairs.
I turned to look at Essie. Well, at least we'll get away scot-free.
Alan, you hear footsteps going downstairs.
I thought we were all going to dump physicality. I thought that was a bond we made in Session 0.
I
I'm
said
going
I
to
was
kick off
dumping
my
social.
shoes immediately and get under the blanket, hiding the fake me I've set up.
You hear the knocking on the door. Alan, my dear, is everything okay?
I had a nightmare.
Oh, well, can I come in? And she's opening the door.
Just books everywhere.
Yeah, there's just books everywhere.
She kind of looks at it, a slight hint of disapproval on her face, but it passes.
Why is my
Just
grandson
looking
such a
at the
nerd?
mess. Oh, what was that noise? What are
I-
you doing in here?
I had a nightmare, and I think I was kicking a bit, and I might have knocked over my pile of books. It was a horrible dream about a dump truck that tried to eat me.
Well, your sociability.
Okay, that is a D10.
Yeah, it's 6 you need.
That is a 2.
Oh my god. So you know what? At this point she sees, as you're talking, you kind of forget that you were supposed to be hiding this whole pillow with your vest on it that you made, and she's hiding it, and you realize you didn't properly close the window. And she kind of sniffs. It's like, what is that smell? What have you been outside?
Of course not. I'm in bed. She's gonna make me go
She
cut a
comes up
switch.
to you and she starts like sniffing your clothes. Alan, this is outrageous. What were you up to? What?
Why? What's?
This, give me that shirt immediately.
Oh no, the dream was real.
Just don't try that with me.
I'm doubling down.
I know your cousins. They get into all sorts of trouble. One of them, I don't know what's going on with them, but I thought you were a good boy.
I am. I had a nightmare.
Don't give me that. Nightmare is what's gonna happen if you don't start telling the truth.
I am.
You see,
I'm
she
only
doesn't
2.
believe you. And she's kind of pulling on your shirt. Give me that. I need to wash it. You can't walk
Okay.
around smelling like garbage. You're grounded tomorrow.
Damn it.
And she's like pulling your t-shirt off you.
Oh.
She looks like she closes the window properly. Cleans a little bit of like grass and stuff that fell in. Just shaking her head.
Meanwhile, we're already in pajamas in bed.
Yes, you're already in pajamas in bed.
You're the
Yeah.
perfect example of, yep, I'm asleep.
And if Grandma like walks by our rooms on the way to throw anything out, I'm just gonna stick my head out and go, Graham, what's up?
Oh, it's nothing, my dear. Go to sleep. I
Okay.
didn't mean to wake you.
Are you okay?
Since you're trying so hard, roll your sociability.
You suck up.
Damn it, I should have just stayed quiet.
You did this.
You brought this upon yourself.
Six.
What?
Okay, so yeah, so she kind of she's still, you see that she's still pretty, like, she's in bad mood, she's pretty outraged about something, she's grumbling about her boys. She's like, everything's okay. You get some sleep. We'll talk in the morning, Jessica.
Okay.
And she still calls you Jessica. She's not going for this Essie thing.
And turn around, go back to bed.
And yeah, you all go to sleep. And next morning, you come down for breakfast. Your grandma has made some eggs, some bacon. There's some tea. There's some juice. It's all very tasty. It's always very tasty food. The eggs taste so much better here in the countryside, where half the people keep their own chickens, and it's all very fresh produce. It is all very nice. And your grandparents are sitting there. As you come in, your grandpa is just sort of eating. He's a fairly quiet man. He enjoys his alone time in the garden. And you quickly pick up as you come that your grandma is still sort of glancing at Alan, just oh no. So you pick up on that vibe.
Chloe is not a morning person, so like hair is still like a mess, still in pajamas, but like shuffling into the kitchen, kind of vaguely grunting and greeting, and just kind of shoveling food into my face, like barely awake.
Is Essie going down in her full goth?
Yeah. They're not allowed to see me in anything else. And then I try to get coffee, and they probably tell me I'm not allowed.
This is exactly what happened. Your grandpa at some point glances at you, Alan. So I heard you've been on some adventure at night.
It was a nightmare.
A nightmare. I got a call from Mr. Fletcher, and he told me a very strange story. Apparently, he spoke to Mr. Alucard later, and he said he found you in his bin.
That's preposterous. What am I, some sort of fox? Going in.
Your goodness. Well, I don't know, my dear. Your clothes did smell like garbage yesterday.
The nightmare was real.
I don't know, do you sleepwalk or something?
Oh, maybe that's it.
I'm saying nothing and just drinking orange juice and watching this like it's a game show.
And then I just sort of nods. Well, anyway, your grandma says you are grounded, so you are grounded.
That's fair.
And she just goes, you should really clean up your room. Those books you keep knocking over. Looks like you live in the garbage yourself. She's clearly not in a great mood.
I'm trying really hard to not laugh into my orange juice.
Okay.
And you finish up your breakfast. What do you want to do with your day? There's all sorts of various preparations you can do.
Well, Alan's not going to be allowed to go to the library today, I presume, since he's grounded.
He is grounded, yes.
Yeah. I guess We can look on the internet for vampire facts. Go boot up Windows 95.
So you sit by the computer. It's painfully slow.
Yeah.
Everything is. It's just you're waiting for a page to load.
I've got a copy of the Cardcaptor Sakura manga, and I'm sitting reading it while we're waiting for things to boot up.
Essie, are you there as well? Or is there anything else you want to do?
What I'm considering doing is trying to. You said that Grandpa does some woodworking.
Yeah.
I want to see if I can make a steak.
You can try to join him in his workshop and try to negotiate your way in there and join him and make a steak. Absolutely.
Like,
So you'll be doing that?
Yeah, I just want to spend some time with him
Yeah.
because the summer and then I'm gone again and then I'll see you next summer and everything. But like, I want to spend time with you.
So you join him.
Grandpa.
He is there in his checkered old shirt and some waterproof pants. He used to be a very tall man, and your grandma is very short, so there was always this contrast between them. He is now sort of hunched a bit, most of his hair is gone, but he gives you like a bit of a smile as you walk in. So you want to learn woodworking? That's a first.
I want to spend time with you, and this is what you're doing.
Yeah, all right, that is what I'm doing. Yeah, I've been.
Are you not doing that?
I am. No, of course. I'm trying to make a new chair for the living room. And he's showing you how he is making the chair.
Okay.
Not too dramatic, but I would die for Grandpa Jim.
I have the skill building things, so I would like to seem. I would like to impress him in some way.
So roll your creativity with advantage. So you roll twice. Difficulties. If you really, really want to impress him, that's going to be 8.
So I rolled a 10.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you actually go in there into the workshop and you start. How do you know how to do this? Have you done this before?
I like knives.
I mean,
Awesome.
We had like what we refer to as tech class, where we got to do like woodworking and stuff. Which you might.
We had shop class, so it's probably something similar. Rosie was not great at it. I'm trying to
apparently Essie is very good. So yeah, you join him, and he actually he was a bit skeptical at first. You never showed much interest in this, but as you show that you know what different tools do, you actually help him with this chair, polishing the wood, cutting it, shaping it properly. He starts smiling at you, and he relaxes, and he becomes much more relaxed. Oh, you're very good at this. I had no idea. You have to come here more often. So, what's with your new style? I've been curious. Doreen.
What do you mean?
Well, you seem to have developed liking for dark colors.
Oh, well, I mean, the world is such a dark place.
Well, as long as it suits you. You see him sort of trying to connect. But
I love Grandpa Jim.
And she goes on and about different social issues, stuff that's important to her and that she thinks is wrong with the world. And then she throws in some Nietzsche that she misquotes. And she's very passionate about whatever she's saying.
He kind of nods along. He's like, oh yes, that's true. Well, That's why at some point I just became tired of it all and I just stay in my garden. And he opens up a bit and tells you how he's just, he used to care a lot and he still does about the world on some level, but he's just so tired sometimes and there's so much going on. And he's like fruit bashes and he's baking and he's woodworking, he understands. So he just tries to get some joy from that and he likes that you enjoy it as well.
I'm not crying, you're crying, shut up.
I fought the Germans for this. Oh, no, this one's okay. This one's okay.
And I would say that like through making this connection, you will be able to also grab something and make a steak during all that conversation.
Great.
It's like under the desk.
At some point. Yeah, I want to, when this scene ends, I want to give him a hug.
Oh. So you do. You give him a hug. As you
It's awkward because she doesn't like hug people, but this is kind of nice.
He hugs you. He gives you a smile. What would you like for dessert today?
Do you leave a big makeup smear on his shirt? Because you put too much on?
Probably a bit, but he kind of looks at it and he just it mixes with the other wood chips a bit of dirt that's on his shirt already.
You can have wood chip imprints in the makeup.
And he asks, what would you like for dessert? I'm gonna make special request.
Oh. She asks for whatever her favorite dessert is. I don't know, some kind of small thing.
Yeah. Well, whatever you ask, he's gonna make tonight. And when the scene ends, he goes on to tend to his garden, and you go off somewhere else. But meanwhile, Chloe and Alan, you are inside the house.
Yep, I've sort of lost interest somewhere down the line. I'm still reading my manga, waiting for my pages to load.
I assume I have to cut firewood or something.
What are you? No, you can be you're gonna sort of. She mellows down as time passes. She kind of was pretty upset in the morning with you. Now she's angrily washing your clothes. She was angrily throwing it into the washing machine, and then quite angrily hanging it in the garden.
Maybe hearing me talk with Grandpa softened her a bit.
Maybe it did. Yeah, she kind of smiled at you both. She probably offered you some biscuits as you were in there. And she sort of relaxes, and she doesn't make you do much stuff, but she's kind of watching you. But you can be on the internet, so you can sit with Chloe there.
So, I guess pull up Google and
Google.
Yeah.
I don't think there was Google yet. Didn't we all use Yahoo?
I use Alta Vista, I think.
Or
Google
or something.
Google was a thing in 2008, I'm sure.
I think it was a thing.
I thought it was earlier.
Well, any browser that you kind of
pull up.
I thought it was
2005
or something for this game.
And any search engine that they're commonly using. Well, the browser is going to be Internet Explorer. That's the only thing you're going to have. That's why it's taking so long. But yeah, you managed to load up the search engine of choice. And what are you trying to find?
I guess I'm typing vampire facts and pressing enter.
Oh, that one. Real facts about vampires.
There we go. That'll do it.
It's Jason Carl's blog.
Yeah. Roll me your luckiness to see what you're gonna find in the depths of internet.
Oh no, I know what my luckiness is like, and it's not gonna be good. That's a 3.
Oh no, it's porn.
Oh no! Backspace!
You find a lot of very strange stuff. You find like
I bet.
I think I've accidentally hit like somebody's fanfiction.net page.
there's gonna you go on some website and some weird ads starts popping up.
Oh no, not again!
Everything
vampires like to
freezes
kiss
for
a
a
lot.
little bit. And
Alan,
your grandma kind of goes in. What are you doing on here? Oh, it's frozen again. It's doing that again. What were you looking for? Are you at this again? Oh, kids, you really need to find something better to do. Chloe, maybe you want to go outside. Your cousin is helping Grandma in the workshop.
Okay. I just gotta look at the computer with "You've betrayed me again."
I'm just gonna slowly
She's
back
trying
away.
to kind of close it, but it's frozen. Then she like presses Reese's button eventually.
Sorry, Grandma, and I'll go
Why does
outside.
it keep doing that? Do you know why it keeps doing that?
I don't know. Like some ad popped up, and I tried to hit close, but I think I pressed the wrong button. I'm not very good with computers. I'm sorry.
She looks, Anne, do you know why it's doing that?
I just point at Chloe. Something she did, I guess. I don't know.
And she eventually like resets the computer, and it takes some time to reboot, but it's all the stuff is gone.
That's fair. I'm going outside now. I've had enough of this.
All right. So as you go outside, you see Essie. Still heading. Well, where would you be heading, Essie, after your chat with Grandpa, spending some time with him?
Probably to see if Alan is still grounded.
If you look, he's just like pressed against the window.
And you see Chloe leaving the house.
Hey, how? Grandma said Grandpa was out here with you?
Yeah, we were doing some woodworking. We were making a chair. He's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, I like Grandpa. He's lovely. Just don't always know what to say to him, but yeah, he's really sweet.
Did you have any luck with looking up this thing?
No. You know, I'm starting to think that just web browsers and me just don't get on, but yeah.
Okay. Library?
Library, yeah, I can't give books viruses, so yeah, let's go with that.
Can Alan come with us?
I guess I'll go and ask Grandma, can Alan come with us to the library?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was hoping he would maybe help me, well, make some lunch.
Well,
But I know he likes his books so much.
If the three of us help you, that would be done faster. And then could we take Alan?
Well, sociability to convince Grandma to
That's my lowest
unground
stat. I
Alan.
don't know why I keep talking.
Because you can't help yourself.
I think you can have an advantage because
I'm doing puppy dog eyes. Just
We've offered
because
to
you're
help.
getting help from Chloe and Alan's puppy eyes. So you go twice and pick the highest.
Okay, 5.
5. So she's in here you don't always necessarily like fail, but there are some complications. So she's gonna I'm gonna let you go to the library, but I'm gonna go there with you and make sure Jane watches you so he doesn't get into more trouble. I don't need him snooping around neighbor's house, really, and hiding in the garbage. What's happening to boys these days?
I'm shaking my head like in a sort of voice.
So what happens is she lets you come along to the library, but as you get there, you see your Auntie Jane is there, And she's sitting there. She's sort of going through some records that she has on her computer. It's the same, similarly old computer that she has at this community center / church. And your grandma comes up to her. Oh, Jane, my dear, how are you? I have my grandchildren here who wanted to use the library. But this one, and she points to Alan. Well, you may have heard he got into some trouble last night. It's like, yes, I heard he was snooping around Mr. Halloker's house. Mr. Fletcher was telling everyone about this at the pub this morning.
I hate him more than the vampire. The vampire has not wronged me.
What were you up to, boy? And your grandma says, well, just make sure he doesn't wander off. He is grounded. So, like, straight back to the house when they're done in the library. I was like, oh, of course. I'll take him there myself, or if my son is around, he will lead him back. Don't worry. You should come over for dinner tonight. She invites your Auntie Jane. It's like, oh, I'd love to, but I want to spend some time with my son. But maybe I'll come later for some cake. Please do. And they have this little exchange, after which your grandma says, oh, you have fun, kids. You enjoy whatever you want to read in here. And she walks away, leaving you with Auntie Jane. Who looks to you? So, how can I help you? What are you after?
I look to Alan.
I'm just like surly and upset. Do you have any books on vampires?
Well, like Dracula. I think I might have a copy of Dracula somewhere in there. Is that for school?
Yes.
And she starts looking, and she does pull out a very tired, like some of the pages a bit loose, cover kind of bent.
Yeah.
Someone drew in a pen a little bit. There are some notes from someone who clearly was doing a book report on it.
Great, we can plagiarize our work.
It's for our summer reading assignment.
Yeah. This is totally what you get 13 and 14-year-olds to read.
And she's like, I think she's not very suspicious. It is a classic. She's kind of looking towards you, Essie, clearly intrigued by your look, but not saying anything, but kind of looking. And she hands you this book.
Thank you.
Just, well, either read it here or make sure to bring it back.
I'll pull out like a notebook, and is there like a little table or something we can go?
There are tables, yes, where you can sit.
I guess go to a table and pull out a notebook and start taking notes on things that we find about Dracula.
Or like once we get to portions where it's like about Transylvania or this whatever different science stuff, Essie will go ask for books on the history of Transylvania or the history of some kind of weird science thing. And she's like, it's a very thorough book report.
Who's taking a lead on this? I would assume Alan.
No, because nobody had my back earlier today.
Okay, so are you just like sulking?
Yeah.
I'm
helping, but I'm mad.
I have a 12 in luckiness and a 10 in creativity. So those are probably more my mental stats. So
yeah, I would say luckiness with this. With like how, as you skim read through books, how much you're going to see of various info.
Yeah. So you want me to roll that?
Yeah. Difficulty 6.
I'm writing down the notes.
10.
Nice!
Yeah, you actually managed. There is, like, you're surprised to find it, but there is a book on, like, Eastern European folklore that's been, like, printed ages ago. It's falling apart a bit, but it is there.
Okay,
Great score.
And you read about vampires, and there are some mentions of, like, Romania. You find out that that's where Transylvania is, although you probably know where Transylvania is. You're a goth. And you managed to find that vampires, like you hear going around, don't like garlic, don't like silver, don't like sunlight, don't like holy ground and holy symbols. Not, some stories say they can't cross the running water as well.
Is there a river in the town that we're in?
And
Or
there is a
creek?
stream on the
Okay.
side, like sort of, it runs not like in the middle of the village, but on the side of it, on one
Okay.
of the edge of it,
Okay.
through some of the fields.
Do they like to count things?
Do they like to count things?
Rosie
Like
wants to say
grains.
something about the Fae and World of Darkness and grains of sand, but
No, it's a belief that they like to.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, there is such a
count.
belief. I know.
Do they like to
You-
count plates?
To count plates. Shattered pieces of plate.
You do find a belief that a way to, according to some legends, to stop some type of vampire-like creature from leaving the coffin is to put a lot of sand in there, and is going to feel compulsion to count all the, like, grains of sand. But I don't guarantee it being low in this game.
Well, if they don't like holy things, then maybe we need to go to the church and maybe we could ask somebody for some holy water. Or maybe I could ask somebody for some holy water.
What if we go on the internet and become ordained ministers? Then we can make our own holy water.
I don't know. I just don't feel that close to God.
I mean, I don't know how exact we need to be with any of this stuff. I think that could work. Okay, so why don't Alan and I get ordained online, and you can go get some actual holy water?
Okay. Great.
Listen, with Mr. Fletcher shitting on me to the whole town, I should not be going anywhere near the clergy who may try to make me be right with God or something.
You don't want to sit in confession for 3 hours?
No! That's
What
worse than
what
being
church
grounded.
is? What denomination is the church here?
I think it's Anglican, so
Yeah.
I guess they don't do confession rites.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they might want to have a talk. You know,
That's just not a very godly thing
you know,
to be doing.
the vicar in town, Father Alfred, is an older man. He seems pretty bored and pretty blasé for most of the time. You had seen him play darts with Mr. Fletcher and Mr. Graham, another of their friends, at the local pub. He tends to his fruit trees. He has very nice garden, but he doesn't grow vegetables. He grows flowers. And of course, he performs service, but he seems to be pretty blasé man who just wants to relax, and he lets your Auntie Jane run the whole community center and make sure the community is going.
If I wasn't this bookish nerd character, I would be vandalizing Mr. Fletcher's house.
Suddenly, Alan enters his rebellious phase.
Yeah. Just Alan going, well, if we need bait, Mr. Fletcher would be perfect.
Yeah, let's hope he gets eaten. Oh, we can get evidence of him being eaten by the vampire.
That would certainly be compelling evidence, but
Now that's a thought. We tell him that we heard something in the house and he needs to check on it.
but why are we in
What do vampires like other than blood?
their sisters?
So we just dress them up like the Astralacard sister. Boom.
I don't know if Mr. Fletcher would let us do that.
Mr. Fletcher, for your information, is a man looking to be in his well into his 60s. He's a fairly big man, fairly round. He has gray
A great big
beard.
bushy beard.
Yes, exactly. He has that great big bushy beard, some gray hair, but it's kind of the hairline is sort of receding. That's how he looks. Just for your information.
I'm sorry, I just was not prepared for the jumping it. Okay, right. I mean, I'm quite decent at cosplay, but I don't think Mr. Fletcher's going to be down for me putting him in vampire cosplay. Well, why don't we stick with maybe looking around, seeing if we can find some garlic and some holy water, and maybe not trying to get local villagers eaten? I mean,
Okay.
I know he's really mean. We could maybe make his house smell like garlic, though. I'm sure that would really annoy him. And we also hopefully wouldn't be arrested for that.
But he's well retired. He's like
I don't put it past him to try.
yeah. Fair. He has mentioned having you all arrested, but you're not sure if he can really
I don't want to test that, to be honest.
All right, so Essie is serious about getting ordained online.
I have no idea how easy / difficult that is.
Incredibly
It's
easy.
incredibly easy.
Let me get you ordained right now.
It's like you just go to something and click a website, essentially.
Universal Life Church. It's free. It takes minutes.
I would argue, though, that it's not very holy.
Listen, I'm going to get my dog ordained right now.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure you're able to do it. I just might not be
you
very
can
helpful.
absolutely go and do it. I don't guarantee it's going to necessarily.
I know, but Essie is, 14.
Yeah, absolutely.
If she was older, she would have the philosophical sort of internal conversation about if it's the faith or what is it, but she's 14.
Yes, so you go back to your grandparents' house to get ordained online.
All right, my dog is now ordained.
Oh my god.
Now, is it Pastor JoJo or Reverend JoJo? Or...
It's whatever she wants, really. You can choose any title in this church. So it might be Archangel JoJo.
I love it.
Is it Archangel Essie after this gets done?
It's probably Reverend.
You could be
Reverend. Oh,
Pope, Anti-Pope.
Maybe.
Right, so you go to do that. Alan, what will you be doing?
If I can, I want to read the rest of that book.
Okay. Chloe, what are you doing?
Apparently I'm going to church.
Okay, so let's start with you, Chloe.
Okay.
You are basically in the building that is adjacent to the church, so you can from there even cross into the church.
Just open a door.
You see, Auntie Jane is there somehow. She's cleaning the benches, making sure they are completely polished.
Hi, Auntie Jane.
No, are you done with your research? How is that report going?
It's going pretty good. We've got the start of the notes. I mean, we've got the whole summer, so we're working on the notes to start with, and then we'll start typing it up back at home.
Lovely. Can I help you somehow?
No, it's okay. I just feel like I haven't been to church much recently. So I wanted to pop in. I say, looking around the church.
Yeah, it's a fairly small church. It stays quite tall in this very small village. The bell tower, white one. It's all white walls and red roof tiles. It is quite picturesque.
Yeah.
Inside is quite simple. There's not much decoration really. There's some carvings made out of wood. There's some stained glass windows. A fairly simple design.
I quite like the windows, to be fair. They're really bright and colorful. So
yeah.
Well, I was reading about Dracula in the book, and it was mentioning something about like holy water being a thing, and I was wondering if we could like get some as like a prop, because I think that would make our report like more interesting. So when we go and present it,
sociability.
Let's see how that goes.
I would like a relic of the church to use as a prop, please.
Yeah, I think it's difficulty 8 because you are.
Well, I got a 7. Damn it.
So she looks to you. Oh, my dear, I can see you haven't been to church in a while. Holy water is not to be used as a prop.
Oh.
It's very important in our faith.
Okay.
I appreciate your interest, but it's just a book report for English class? You really shouldn't be doing that. You should respect people's faith. Okay. You know that, right? And she gives you a little bit of a talk about respecting all faiths and various beliefs.
Like 10 minutes later. Yeah, right? Just doing the, yep, okay, right. Slowly losing the will to live.
Meanwhile, Alan, you're continuing reading the book. Is there anything else you want to find out, or are you just
my
chilling?
entire goal is to stay out of trouble right now. But anything you could think of that shows up, go for it.
I'm gonna say for now nothing shows up, but it might change in a moment. So you are reading, just chilling, reading.
Yep.
Dracula. Right. Essie, you go. You go online, and it takes you a bit of time to get to the internet to work and load, but you manage to get ordained online. Your grandma comes in. Oh, you're back. Where are your cousins? Where is Alan?
Oh, Alan was with Faye's character's name. Chloe.
No worries.
Oh, I guess I could have taken it back to the house.
Hmm?
I could have taken the book to the house.
Oh yeah, you can go back with
Because I'm absolutely not going to church.
Yeah. You can go back if you wanted to go back with Essie, you can be there. Yeah. So Grandma actually smiles at you, seeing you came back. And she's gonna kind of lean over Essie's shoulders, like, "Whoa, what are you doing? What are you looking for? Chloe earlier, she crashed the whole thing. Is it working properly now?"
And she sits up rather proudly and goes, "I am now Reverend Essie."
I love that you're just being straight up honest with her.
She kind of glances there. Oh, whatever you say. Right. Well, you promised to help with dinner, so I think there's some potatoes to peel. So when you're done with your playing, come to the kitchen, do some of that.
Shots fired.
Okay, Grandma.
Chloe.
Yep.
Auntie Jane gave you a bit of a lecture.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She goes through various faiths and how you have to Be careful and respectful and mindful.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, I know you're a good girl. Just keep that in mind, please.
Okay, I'll do my best. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. And I'm mentally now wondering whether Grandma or Grandpa have a Bible back home.
There would be a Bible at home.
Okay, great. Then I don't need to steal one from church, because that probably isn't going to go well. So I will thank her for her time and head out.
So you go back home.
Yeah.
And you also drown into making dinner preparations. Grandpa joins you in the kitchen. He actually tells you to go away at some point. Like, you've done enough. I need to have my space for baking right now. And he smiles at you, Essie, and gives you like a little wink. And you have some time to yourself before dinner, and then it will be slowly nightfall. So you can discuss what your plan is, what you want to do. You can find the Bible in the house with no much problem. I would say you have that already.
Cool, great. Well, I didn't get holy water, but I figured, like, the Bible isn't a bad shout. Maybe read something from it? I don't know. Don't know if there's any particular chapters on vampires in the Bible. Can't say I've read it cover to cover, but...
I mean, won't we have to be near him? And it's us?
Yeah, well, maybe, but, like, it's better than nothing.
I'm not reading it.
And you're like a minister now, so you can do it.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Fun fact, my dog is now a sorceress.
I'm learning so much.
The wonders of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
No, she could be a rock doctor. Or a reverend of rock. Or a Time Lord.
Is that a geologist? Not the Time Lord.
They are religious titles. According to this, I can get a degree for her. And it's, what's your title? Colonel.
That's going to be some dog with credentials. Right. So, what do you wish to do this evening? There is going to be a dinner. Auntie Jane is going to come around. You know, when she comes around, she and Grandma get rather chatty. And then can be at it forever. Your grandpa usually excuses himself and escapes to his workshop or to the garden.
Maybe we could
Make a
go
cross?
out. I was gonna say go out and play and like go and look around the village and see if there's been any other signs of like animal attacks.
Maybe,
That's a good idea.
say, maybe Grandpa will have us go get him some smokes or something.
Yeah.
But it's not I keep reading, it's not the 80s.
No.
Also, or what we could do is see if Auntie Jane has any good gossip.
Ooh.
My sociability is a 6.
Mine's an 8.
Mine's a 10.
Hey! You get to talk to the adults.
Great.
Yeah. I mean, you got a bit of a bad rep recently, but you've always had good contact with Auntie Jane. I imagine you showed up at the library often. She really appreciated your interest.
So, Aunt Jane, since I've been grounded all day, anything happening in town?
Well,
Tell me of the outside world.
She looks at you. You shouldn't joke like that.
Oh, here it comes. Here comes the lecture.
But then she kind of smiles. Roll your sociability to see how much she's gonna warm up to you.
10?
10, yeah, absolutely. She does. So she says, "Oh well, I heard Susan Hall, from the shop, went to see Mr. Burnaby in the hospital. Apparently, well, he's He's in stable condition, thank God. But he's not doing very well. They really should do something about this animal. There hasn't been anything, like nothing new last night. I know some people went around to look. Nothing happened, luckily. I know Mr. Fletcher is being very vigilant, trying to find the cause of all this. Hopefully he will have a clue soon, and maybe he can contact his friends at the police, and they will do something about it. What sort of stuff do you want to learn? Like, is there any specific... You learned that her son is in town. She will tell you all about it. He is a photographer. He goes out at night to take photos of the sky. He takes these beautiful star pictures. She says you can see them there on the internet. She gives you like some name. He's called Tim Willimot.
I was going to keep her talking to give the others an easier chance to sneak out or do whatever, because I don't want to take the risk of getting caught 2 nights in a row.
How late is it that?
It's before sunset a little bit.
Okay.
It's sort of getting towards sunset now.
Can we, justifiably, are we generally allowed out at this time, or are we usually expected to be in?
Ish. Like, you could go out right now, you would be told to come back quickly. You'll stay, out a bit later.
What if I
sometimes.
keep them distracted with this conversation?
Yeah. That could happen, absolutely. You could just sneak out.
Yeah. I guess I'll try and sneak out then.
Alan's taking one for the team again. Photography. That's very interesting. Tell me more.
Hey, I had to deal with Auntie Jane's lectures on religion earlier. I think you're doing okay.
This is voluntary.
So out of character. What we really should do is try to get Jane to agree to let us tag along with her son to see if we can get him to take pictures around Alucard's house.
Oh, that's a good idea. I would love to go with him and learn more about photography sometime.
Oh, I can ask him. Well, I'm sure he'll be going. He said he's only here for a few nights, and he wants to catch some photos of the night sky. It's been clear recently. Doreen, would it be okay if Alan came out? He's been grounded all day. And your godmother at this point looks at you and smiles. Yes, all right, if you want to learn.
Yay! My mom says I need to get out of the house more.
It's true.
Do you all want to tag along? Or did you two sneak out and it's just Alan doing that?
I mean, if we get an excuse to be outside with chaperone, then sure. I guess. To be fair, I'm actually down for learning more about photography because it'll help me for taking cosplay photos.
All right, so you're all tagging along.
Mm-hmm.
Auntie Jane takes you to her house, introduces you, her son, and she says, "Oh, you will show them how you do it, right? This young man Alan here, he's very interested. He would like to learn more about photography." You see that this man, who looks to be in his 40s at this point, he looks a little bit like, "Mom, this is my job. I'm not a babysitter."
We'll carry your stuff.
You definitely will not. This is expensive stuff. And say, "Oh, please, dear, you have to help the youth. They've been getting into some kind of trouble. Do some social work for me, please." And he's like, you see a little bit of his soul in his body, but he kind of smiles. "All right, Mom, but All right, you can come along,
Thank you.
Yay!
but only tonight.
Do you take photos of wildlife as well, or is it just
Let's let the vampire eat him.
No! This poor man has done nothing to deserve that.
And you set out. He does. He will let Alan carry his tripod, which is surprisingly heavy, as you pick it up. But he doesn't let you touch any of the other equipment.
Yeah, that's fair.
And as the sun sets, a little bit later, as it gets dark, you set out with him. And I think this is a nice moment for a bit of a break for all of us.
Yeah.
All right, we're recording. We're back from the break, so let's continue. You set out with Tim Willimot, the son of your Auntie Jane.
Much to his delight.
Yes, Alan, you are carrying pretty heavy tripod. You didn't think it was going to be quite this heavy. You can carry it, but it is tiring you. You're not the most physically strong person. And
I'll offer to carry the other end of it with him.
That would be nice, thank you.
Mr. Willimot is leading you through the village. He kind of glances to you. All right, so you're interested in photography, right?
Yes.
What do you know already?
We have a digital camera.
Well, I suppose that's a good start. I started with some analog, not very good thing, but
So like the really old
it's
one
always
where you
fun.
print out in a dark room.
Yes, I still like doing that sometimes. It's relaxing. And you can get some of the effects. Well, at least it's more comfortable for me to do like that in a dark room. I'm sure some people are working out how to do it digitally. I like, well, different things for different photos. What do you like? So you're interested in what, landscape, nighttime?
I mean, I like taking photos of people, but also, I mean, animals are good.
I like old car photos.
Like the sort of silhouettes of houses. Interesting.
We've all just given reasons why of taking photos of people.
He's just sort of nodding at it. He's still looking a bit skeptical. He's really trying to connect with you. So I'm not a very good teacher. I never really taught anything, but
That's
you're
okay.
welcome to observe. I'll try to tell you as much as I can. I hope to get some shots of the nighttime landscape. Go up to some of those hills. And you're walking through the village, and as you're sort of towards you go past the local shop, which is being closed down right now, but Mrs. Susan Hill, who works there, who waves at you. But she usually looks pretty tired and busy, and here she's running a shop, and she has her farm that she's running with her wife, and they are they're generally, she's the very busy one, and she just waves at you and very tiredly sort of looks on. You can see the tiredness in her face. You walk past the pub. There is a little bit of liveliness there. A few people inside. You see there's Mr. Fletcher there with his friend Mr. Graham. They are smoking outside, sitting with their pints.
But not so he can see it.
Roll your luckiness.
So,
It's
like,
difficulty 4. because it's easy, but
7.
Yay!
yeah, he doesn't see it. He's completely into an argument he's having with Mr. Graham. And the argument is about the difference and the point where the difference between cake and bread, and when one thing stops being cake and starts being bread. And they are having a very passionate discussion about it. You know that they always get into this argument about the littlest things. So Mr. Graham is arguing that if it's sweet, it's cake. That's the end of it. And Mr. Fletcher is like, no, you have to look at it deeper. You have to think about the process.
I
Crumb
can't believe
density.
Mr. Fletcher and I are on the same side of this.
I mean, I deeply, Rosie wants to know how they feel about pound cake.
What about cinnamon raisin bread?
So do you want to join the conversation?
We
No.
have to learn about photography.
Well,
The
you
worst
get that,
person
like-
I know just made a good point.
Yeah. Mr. Fletcher is thinking, yeah, he's kind of bringing it up, but what about this? What about this? And Mr. Graham is, if it's sweet, it's cake. And he's adamant about it.
We're gonna blow his mind with a pan of chocolat.
Yeah. Oh, it's cake. It gets brought up. It's cake. And this, but they call it bread. Like,
The
it's
French
sweet.
are going to riot.
So that's the sort of discussion you hear a bit of as you pass. Alan finding himself agreeing with Mr. Fletcher. And as you are in a bit darker part of the village, there's some houses there's less lights now. There aren't any people around. You see Mr. Alucard walking down the street. He's kind of walking from the opposite direction to you at this moment.
Is he looking particularly suspicious, or is he just looking casual?
He's
When does
walking.
he look suspicious?
He looks pretty
He wears a
suspicious.
cape.
He wears a cape. He's looking. He's kind of, he's on the street. He stops. He glances at some of the house, looking in the windows. Then he keeps walking. And
That's pretty
he's slowly, approaching you. But he stops to consider the houses, loitering a little bit.
Could I pull out the digital camera and try and record this while we're walking towards him?
Yeah, you can.
Because it's a bit weird.
There's not much light in here.
Okay.
So you try.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you try. It's gonna be a fairly, it's not gonna be a super good quality image. Something is gonna get recorded.
Yeah, it might be the inside of my hoodie for all I know.
So you're recording this. And as you approach him, he looks to you. He gives a smile. "Ah, good evening, kids.
Good evening.
Going for a nighttime stroll? Learning
learning.
photography, I see.
Yes.
And Mr. William just looks like, yeah, helping the youth get into art. And Mr. Alucard smiles. Oh, that's great work. Arts are very important. We need to support the next generation in that endeavor. Be careful, kids. Apparently there's some wild animal around.
Good thing we're traveling in a group.
And he gives you a smile and starts walking further away.
This is fine.
So, what is your intention here? Because your chaperone is going to be leading you out of the village into some hills. That's where he wants to go, at least.
I mean, I guess looking for signs of animals being attacked or having been attacked.
I'm just kind of hoping the vampire attacks our supervisor.
I mean, that would That would certainly be some sort of evidence.
That can happen. So you're just. No, I just want to say if you're at this point at least walking away from the village.
Yep.
All right, so that is happening.
Or thought
Yeah.
we could be stupid and invite Alucard to join us.
That's Mr. Alucard.
Well,
Would
he
you like
insists
to
you call
join
him
us?
Vlad. Do you call him? Oh, please, it's Vlad.
Would you like
Okay.
to join us? Vlad?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Would you like to join us on our photo expedition?
Well, if your teacher doesn't mind, I'd very much like to observe his
Can we take a
technique.
photo of you very fast?
Photo of me?
Yeah.
Well, sure, of course. Why
Does-
would I mind?
Does our vampire book say anything about vampires showing up in photographs?
I don't think it did.
It didn't. No,
Okay.
I didn't.
Click.
I think it mentioned mirrors, but not.
So you take a photo and he's smiling and posing a little bit. There's a little bit of mischievousness in his face and his smile.
Well, at least now we can keep jacking it.
Mr. Williams is like, yeah, of course, it's. You see what kind of night is going to be, so if you're up for that, please come along.
Oh, good. You can also babysit.
Well, I very much want to support youth in getting into arts. All sorts of arts they seem to be interested in.
Have I told you about cosplay, sir?
No, what is that?
Oh, and I go into a long, rambling discussion as to the intricacies of cosplay in the anime community.
Just at the start, you hear, please no.
Yeah.
Hashtag explain cosplay to an elder.
Yes.
So you're explaining cosplay to Vlad.
I'm also definitely referencing, like, all of the like vampire-based animes that I can think of, which off the top of my head is Vampire Knight and Hellsing.
Do you mention like the word vampire?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I mentioned. Oh yeah, those people that dress up from like one of the ones that I've read, Vampire Knight.
And
You
Yeah,
talk about your
too.
fan fiction?
I'm not telling about fanfiction yet.
so, do you like to dress up as vampires?
Not me, but one of my friends does.
I am sure you do. And he looks at you, Essie.
Shots fired.
You seem the type.
I'm not really into costuming.
Then why do you dress like a
Oh.
clown?
I'm sorry.
Alan! It's a form of self-expression.
I didn't realize we were going to get quite so contentious in the cosplay discussion.
Ooh. Ooh.
You see,
I would like
Mr.
to-
Willimot is just like, he
Wants to
actually
die?
takes his tripod from you. I can carry that. I don't want you. It's expensive equipment. And he's not quite abandoning you, but
Please
he's
let
sort
me
of
help you.
walking and he
Please let me
clearly
help you.
doesn't care whether you follow or stay behind.
I'm trying to stick relatively close to our chaperone so that there's not one of us going off by himself. Also, I'm leaving their bickering behind me.
But what Essie does is she apologizes to Mr. Alucard for how rude her younger cousin is.
Oh, yes. Well, I suppose manners take some time to develop. But you have
Probably.
time, right?
Yeah, I'm only 14, so lots of time.
Hmm. Well, you should be careful. Can be dangerous at night here.
Yep. All those wild animal attacks, right? Like, I heard about those.
Terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah,
Someone should really do something about it, but somehow I don't think they will.
yeah, all those owls and foxes have been going through people's trash lately.
Yeah. And naughty boys. But hey, I'm not judging your taste. If that's what you like, that's what you like.
He doesn't own like a van, does he?
He's giving me pretty creepy van vibes.
It's like he wants me to get in the van.
He doesn't have a van, but he's creepy. Definitely.
It's a little sexual with these two.
So yeah, we'll
No.
continue.
You continue. He's just looking at you, smiling.
That's not creepy at all.
No, it's not creepy because he's handsome.
If Twilight
And his
has taught
eyes
us
are
anything,
dreamy.
Twilight has taught us that it is okay to do really questionable things so long as you're hot.
And
Apparently,
that
yeah.
age is just a number.
Okay, new game. Actually, vampire is fine. No, he definitely gives you a strong, creepy vibe, and is quite aware of it and quite aiming for that, you can tell.
Great. Hate that.
Okay, so given my low sociability score, Essie is gonna say, you're kind of creepy, right?
He kind of thinks, I suppose I've been called that.
What else
at least
have you
he's
been called?
self-aware.
But, well,
What else have you been called other than creepy?
Vlad, we call him Vlad.
yes, Vlad. You know, eccentric here mostly.
You got a really nice jaw, Vlad.
Well, thank you, of course.
So chiseled. You look really strong.
He kind of looks to you. You kids don't know what you're playing with. Come, it's time to learn some arts. This photographer is about to lose hope. And we wouldn't want to leave him alone in the wilderness, now would we? Not
Meanwhile,
with the animals running around.
I've been asking the photographer whether he sees many animals while he's out taking pictures, and I'm trying to genuinely ask about his interests because I know I don't like it when people don't care about my interests. So I'm trying.
I knew that he doesn't really photograph wildlife much, but he comes across it. But if you're interested, he gives you some names of photographers who do nice work. He likes landscape, mostly.
I ask him where his favorite place to take photos is.
He names Scotland, the Highlands, because he goes there quite a lot. And he's actually, yeah, he gets into this conversation. He talks to you about like your interests.
I'm feeling a little embarrassed now because like I started talking and then got the hint that nobody wanted to listen. So like I'm being a bit awkward about it, but
You're growing as a person.
yeah.
And finally, Mr. William starts setting up his tripod and his camera. He's trying different frames. He gets busy with it. He tries to explain to you some
I'm
of
trying
that.
to listen. I'm actually trying to take it in. Because I don't know, this does actually seem interesting.
So you get interested in photography.
I completely forget what we're actually out here to do.
Alan, Essie, how about you? You were tagging along.
You were taunting a
bit
vampire.
yes, talking
Yes,
with
taunting.
Vlad.
Definitely not trying to flirt with.
I mean, Alan's not learning about his sexuality at all.
I'll try to learn.
At some point, Alan's going to watch
I'm trying to solve this puzzle in his heart now. His books have told him nothing about this.
At some point, Alan is going to watch Interview with a Vampire and go, "Oh!"
At some point, yes. But for
But
now,
right now we're walking through the woods with a vampire.
you are doing that.
This is a mature, older man.
Essie, you see that Chloe seems to have forgotten what you're doing and is now with Mr. Willimot, looking at lenses, listening to what he's saying. He ignored the two of you completely. He focused on her.
I pulled out a notebook. I'm actually writing stuff down.
Mr. Alucard, my grandma and grandpa said that you're an artist of some sort. Is that why you walk around with the cape and everything?
Oh, that's a family heirloom. A bit of a tradition.
Oh, where is it from?
Well, Eastern Europe. Why do you ask?
Just one off on the vampire bingo card.
So interesting.
Because you don't see a whole lot of people wearing them.
Well, you don't seem to
so
exactly
well.
fit in with the crowd either, now do you? Is that a bad thing?
I'm told it's a phase.
Bold words from the goth.
Anyone thirsty? I brought this canteen of water with me.
No, I don't need water.
Oh, did you bring something else?
Yes, indeed. And he flashes his teeth as he smiles.
I smile back, forgetting entirely why we're here.
Oh, gosh.
Only Essie is paying attention to what we're actually aiming for.
So, Essie, you see that Alan seems strangely focused on Vlad and flustered, maybe. And Chloe is lost in actually learning about the arts.
Oh no, our plan is working, kind of, not really.
Our plan's certainly doing something.
Listen, we don't have any proof. That could just be animals.
But what? This smile. How sharp is it?
You get a little flash.
It cuts right to my heart.
Of sharp fangs, and then it's gone.
Of all the people I was expecting to be horny for Vlad, I'm going to be honest, I thought it was going to be Essie.
So did I, and yet.
This is much better.
I love that there's at least
Listen, I wasn't expecting this.
I love that there's now at least two gay cousins, because Chloe is definitely a gay cousin.
Nice. So Essie, this is the situation. Is there anything you wish to do? Or wait for now.
You want to point out the photographer's supple neck as he's leaning over and talking to Chloe?
No, but I am going to tell Mr. Alucard that we were in the library earlier today doing some reading and research, and just straight up say that they learned that a little bit about Eastern Europe and some of the history there.
Is that what we call Dracula these days?
She was researching facts.
No, that's true. That's true. You did actually look stuff up.
And she asks if he's named after Vlad the Impaler.
Hey!
It's a very popular name, but I like to think so.
How do you feel about that?
As I say, I like to think so.
Okay. So you like being named after a man that cut off people's heads and put them on stakes.
Well, it's an important historical figure.
Great. I'm going to go over to the other adult now.
And now it's just us two, huh? Girls just don't get us.
No,
You did this for us.
indeed not. So, what were you really doing? Looking through my trash last night?
Well,
Well,
now
there
you
wasn't
might
much
be
to look through.
No. Well, you know,
I
don't
guess
like...
living on your own, you don't have to do a lot like that, huh?
No. I like going out to
Yeah, you
eat.
just go out to eat. You don't have to cook food at home. It sounds like the life.
It really is.
I feel like I can learn a lot from you.
I have a feeling you're not really interested in photography.
What? No, I love lenses.
And he's moving sort of closer to you.
Oh no.
Oh, you want to get a selfie?
God damn it, Alan.
Sure.
He doesn't know
But
what
let's
he's...
get a better background. This is a bit.
Sure.
And Chloe, I assume you're completely engrossed in learning.
Yeah, I'm just learning so much about lenses and landscapes, and honestly, I didn't realize that like the night sky was this interesting.
And Rosie is torn between going up to the other adult and going, stranger danger, please help my cousin, and instead waiting for a few minutes and then going over and seeing what's happening and screaming and hoping they come with the video camera.
So you see that Alan is quite happily going sort of to the side, further away, with Vlad.
Okay. I'm still really torn.
And you see Vlad kind
Where's
of look
it?
back at you and wave.
Oh, damn it.
And flash teeth.
Oh
again,
God, he's taunting me. I wait a minute.
Don't forget, you're an ordained minister.
You're right, I am. Okay.
Did you take the Bible? Quick question.
Or you could take my dropped water bottle, try to bless
I
it.
think you took the Bible.
I think we took the Bible. I walk up to my cousin who's taking photography very seriously and say, "Can I have that book you
Yeah,
took
sure.
earlier?"
Yeah, sure. I just like reach into my backpack and just hand. In fact, I just hand you my backpack.
I take your backpack, get the Bible out. If there's anything else that looks useful, I take that.
To be honest, the video camera's probably back in there at this point.
I grab the video camera too.
Yeah, I'm just so engrossed in photography.
Great.
Does Chloe have undiagnosed ADHD? Probably.
Is Essie somehow the responsible one?
Somehow, it's that whole year. It just
Yes,
it
she's the
activates
oldest.
that
She needs
year.
to take care of little
Yeah.
cousins. So
Yeah.
you're going to get this stuff. Meanwhile, Alan, you are posing to take a selfie.
I don't have the camera, it turns out. Oh, it's not in my
No,
pockets.
you've got
I
the
guess
phone.
we just got close
You have the
together.
phone.
Oh no! I guess we just have to hug.
I guess we just got close together for no reason. You smell nice.
I think you had the phone. So you can pull it out to take a selfie.
Beep.
And you hear Vlad, as he's near you, say, "You kids are adorable." And he laughs slightly. And then he's leaning towards you with his teeth.
You've
like
got
fangs
immaculate
out. It's gonna
cheekbones.
bite into you. Are you attempting to avoid it at all?
No.
All right, so you feel pain in your neck, and it is painful. It's not pleasurable. It hurts.
Is this
And they
what
say
a
love
hickey
hurts.
Essie, you were coming there with the Bible and the camera, right?
Yep.
So you come sort of, they walked away a little bit. You come up there and you see that Vlad is now drinking from.
I take a picture at the very least to look like a pervert.
Hell
We
yeah.
go to the cops.
This
So you
man
take
is
a
creeping on
picture.
a 13-year-old. Fuck you.
I take a picture.
Are you going to scream or are you just going to stand there and watch?
I scream after I take the picture.
Okay, I think
Right.
at that point I suddenly go, oh shit, we had a plan.
And what I scream is, "Stop kissing my cousin! He's 13!"
I turn and start running towards the screaming.
So you start running towards the screaming.
We might not solve this problem the way you wanted us to, but he will leave town.
Just you wait. Because Mr. Willimont is alarmed now, and he kind of comes up, and you see during this time, with unnatural speed, Vlad is just away, a few steps away, just wiping his mouth from blood as Chloe and Mr. Willimot are approaching. And he was like, "What's going on?"
He was holding Alan, and
And you see, Mr. Elcott, yes, I understand you misunderstood.
I couldn't get away from his big, strong arms.
There was this, I don't know, it was some sort of, I'm not even sure what animal that was, and jumped out from behind the bushes. And I was trying to help the lad chase it away. I had to hold him in the process. I didn't mean anything by it. I'm sorry. I'm genuinely really sorry if you
can't-
misunderstood.
That would
And
happen. I
you
was
see
too
Mr.
busy
Willimot.
getting lost in your eyes.
I'm looking at Alan with an expression of, what the hell?
And you see Mr. Willimot is like, oh, yes, of course, it's dangerous out here. We should probably get back. And he seems to completely buy it. This is one of the powers that has. Tell blatant lie and believe.
I'm looking at Tim with an expression of, okay, my trust in adults has plummeted quite rapidly.
Call
And
him
then
Tim now?
And now
And
I'm also looking at Alan with a sort of, what?
Mr. Willimot is saying, okay, maybe I should take your kids back. And you, Alan, you're feeling weak. Your neck is hurting. You are like, you don't feel well. Your head hurts. You feel
I'm
a
now
bit sick.
lightheaded.
now lightheaded and swooning.
I must have swooned in his arms.
And you hear Vlad say, I don't know what ideas this boy is getting into his head, but, well, I think you should probably take them back home now. I can help with that if necessary, but I think you better take it from here. They seem to be taking some unhealthy interest.
So here's my
And
email
Mr. Willimot
address.
is saying, of course, kids, and he comes up to you, Alan, and looks at you. Oh, have you seen what attacked you?
Oh. But thank God
Right,
Vlad
I'll
was
get you
there.
back home. Oh my God, my mom's gonna fucking kill me. I probably shouldn't. And he like realized he said fuck, and he sort of.
That's okay. I've heard people say worse.
And he has this expression like, I'm really not good at this.
Listen, Mr. Vlad lives right next to us. Maybe he could walk me home
No,
instead of having to go
Alan,
to your house
Alan,
first.
Alan, no.
And
I
Vlad's
think
like,
Mr. Vlad's helped us enough.
Vlad is saying, oh, I'd rather not.
Anyway, here's my email address, Mr. Vlad.
I looked at Essie.
I'd rather not, really. I think I better go. And he's like, yeah, I'll take care of this. They get very... Kids, come on, let's get going, And Mr. William was like putting his equipment away.
Can I help with that at all?
You can help with that. And as Alucard is walking away, he, again, when Mr. Willimot is busy, you see him turn around and do a little bit of a soundless laugh, like, and wave back at you. And he walks off and disappears from sight.
I'm making a mental note to go into Essie's room later and ask her what the hell's going on.
And Mr. Willimot, still swearing a bit, like clearly giving up on trying not to, is taking you back to your parents' house. When you arrive there, your grandma, who is still talking to your Auntie Jane, they both, like, Mr. Willimot comes up, is like, hi, yeah, I'm sorry, Mom, I told you I'm not, like, a babysitter. He got attacked by something. He seems fine, he seems able to walk, he seems kind of dazed and weird, but, like, and then you hear your grandma, oh my God, what happened? Alan, come on, come. And she kind of starts fussing over you and taking you to the couch, and she starts dressing the wound. Well, we need to take you to the doctor right now.
Doesn't it look like something bit him?
Yes, I wonder what it is. I don't know. Well, we must give you like a rabies shot or something. We must take you to the doctor.
To be sure.
No, we could probably wait till morning.
No, I'm going to. I have to wake up. I have to wake up Jim.
I'm gonna turn to Mr. Was it surname was Willamot?
Yeah.
And just ask whether I could email him to ask about photography stuff.
And he's like, he almost like forgotten about you for a moment. It's like, oh, yeah, sure, of course.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yes, I'll give you some pointers. Just
sorry that your shoot got ruined.
It's fine. I'll just try again the next night, or maybe I can still go out. You kids stay safe, okay? You hear Auntie Jane coming after him, like, you were supposed to watch over them. What did you do? How could you let an animal bite little Alan? What is wrong with you? You should really like get married and get some kids of your own. Like, then you could do a better job of it. And she's just going off like that after him.
Oh, poor Tim.
And Grandpa is now up, like, what's going on? And you hear Grandma explaining, like, Alan got attacked, he got bit by some animal, we need to take him to the hospital right now. We need to drive to the city to take him to the hospital. And he's like, let me see. How are you feeling?
Warm on the inside. Little tingly. Nice.
I'm gonna go get dressed.
Can I grab Essie while this is happening?
Yes, while this is happening, you can grab Essie, absolutely.
What is going on with him?
The camera I had, was it a video camera or a like picture camera?
I think I imagine it's the sort of picture camera that can also take video. So we could have taken either.
All right, then I show the footage to
Chloe.
my cousin, Chloe.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna write down your name. I'm sorry.
No worries. I got it printed out before the start of the game.
I show the footage to Chloe. This is what happened.
Huh. And he shows up on camera?
Yeah.
Why is Alan so chill with this?
I don't know, but
is that a vampire power thing?
Maybe, probably. But do we show this to?
I guess. Well, if nothing else, hopefully that'll mean that he doesn't get led around 13-year-old boys. Um,
Yeah.
sure, like, I guess, shall we tell Grandma?
What I think Essie wants to do is talk to Grandpa because of that heart-to-heart they had earlier.
Yeah, use that.
And so she's going to take the camera and go find Grandpa as he's like getting ready.
I'll come
All
with
right, so
you.
yeah, Grandpa's
I'll come
getting
with
ready.
you.
And Essie says, "Grandpa, can I need to talk to you about something, and it's serious."
Yeah, yes, of course. I mean, we need to rush to the hospital, but
I know, but it might be helpful. Mr. Alucard went with us on our nighttime photography, and he was alone with Alan for a little bit, and I was taking some video, and I caught this, and she shows him.
And I'll come over and sort of add. And then I heard Essie scream, and we came over, and he then said to them that it was a wild animal attack.
well, yeah, well, I'm not sure what he's doing. Maybe
I mean, I don't know. I don't think
I know some people
strange men
suck poison out of wounds. Maybe he was trying to help. I'll try to talk to him tomorrow. I'll go to his house tomorrow to talk to him. Don't worry about these kids. I'll sort this out.
Okay.
But now I need
There's a
to go.
grown man holding my 13-year-old cousin, and you want to go talk to him about poison?
No, I'll talk to him to sort out the situation. Just,
Have you not had the talk?
Well, your sociability.
Can I give her advantage on this?
Yes, you can have an advantage on this. Absolutely. You can absolutely have an advantage on this.
6!
Yeah, so he's like,
Tim's about to get viewed with hunter powers.
and he's like, no, I understand. That's why I want to talk to him. Just, man to man, tell him what I think about that.
See? And my power saw.
But now we have to Alan seems wounded. There must have been some animal around. We need to make sure he gets his rabies shot.
Okay.
Talk about how clean the bite is for an animal attack.
I don't think I'm that smart.
I don't think
No, it's on vampires earlier. You might be.
And they will rush off with Alan to the hospital.
Are we just being left to our own devices, or are we coming in the
You
car?
are left to your own devices, yeah.
Oh no, this is so much worse.
Once again, Alan makes a distraction.
Okay. Essie turns to Chloe and says, "So do we go after him, or do we wait for him to come after us?"
Both seem bad, but I don't know. I still don't get what was going on with Alan. What if he's able to do that to us?
I don't know. We've just got to, maybe if we're aware of it, it'll be easier to resist.
Maybe. Right. So when you're saying him to come to us, are you meaning Home Alone set up traps around the entire house and see what happens? Or are you meaning...
and hope that our grandparents don't come over first.
I don't want to have to explain to Grandma why we've knocked out Grandpa with a train set or something. Also, I don't want Grandma or Grandpa getting hurt in this. I think we should go after him.
Okay.
Great plan by the 13-year-old.
What will you be doing?
It sounds like they're going to Home Alone the vampire.
No, they're gonna go to the vampire. Yes, you're gonna be sneaking into the house again. You're gonna...
I don't know. This is playing a child trying to take on a vampire is very different.
It worked with Lost Boys.
So, okay, you think about that.
Yeah.
Alan, you are being driven to the hospital. And your grandpa turns to you.
Oh, you're gonna get the talk.
So, Keith, tell me what happened there exactly.
I just met up with Mr. Vlad in the middle. He told me to call him Vlad, by the way.
Yeah, he
took
tells
me off
everyone
to a
that.
part
He's
of the
eccentric
woods
like that.
and held
Yes,
me
he's
close,
very
and then
nice.
he saved me from something I didn't see. I was too busy lost in his eyes.
But he didn't. You
He
know
put
you
his
can
face
tell.
right next to mine.
Well, I'm gonna go to his house tomorrow and have a chat with him about what happened to clear up the situation. And your grandma's like, well, I can't believe Mr. Alucard could do anything bad. He's such a charming young man.
He certainly is. And he smells good, too.
We have photographic proof, Grandma. He's a creep. Whether or not he's a vampire is irrespective at this point.
And you are being rushed to the hospital. You get some shots there.
If it's rabies, it's a lot of shots.
Yeah, you will have to be coming back for more.
Great.
So you're feeling kind of sore on the way back. You're generally not feeling very well. Essie, Chloe, what are you doing in the meantime?
Okay, so Essie is thinking about the Dracula book that they looked at earlier.
Mm-hmm. We've got the
And she remembers that at a certain point, one of the women that Dracula bit was left her window open, and he came during the night to feed again. So she is, at this point, not thrilled with the idea, but is wondering if maybe they need to wait for Alan to come home and then leave his window open.
We're using our cousin as bait. Okay.
Do you have a better idea?
I no, I can add to that though. They also don't like garlic. Maybe Grandma's got some garlic around the house. Like, we should go look for garlic.
Idea.
So I'm running to the kitchen and going to go find garlic.
There will be garlic in the kitchen, absolutely.
Because I am Reverend Essie, I bless I bless the house. Whether or not it does anything, Rosie doesn't know, but Essie believes it will.
Yes, you bless the house.
Oh god, I'm just getting the end of Poltergeist. This house is clean! Satan comes out the cupboard.
Entirely unrelated ghost is kicked out of the house.
Yeah. Right.
So that's what you're doing. So you're taking some garlic.
Yep.
You're blessing the house. What are you doing with the garlic?
I mean, my plan currently is like either like slip some into Alan's bed or like just have it around our necks as we run into the room.
Or can we crush some up in water and make Alan drink it? So then if the vampire drinks Alan, he gets some of the garlic.
Wow. We're really counting on this guy being hyperfixated on Alan.
We could all drink it.
Let's all drink the garlic water.
So you make some garlic water. It's disgusting, by the way.
I mean,
you're repelled by it.
Yeah. To be fair, if this works on us, I think it'll work on Vlad. I'm not thrilled about it. I'm going to definitely keep a clove like on me.
The house now smells very strongly of garlic.
I mean, I think it smells pretty good.
I mean, and just to cover that up, Essie is going to try to make pasta, and if her grandparents ask, feel like, I got hungry.
Roll your creativity
I'm
to
just
see how
making
much
night
mess
lunch.
you're going to make.
Can I help?
Yes, you get an advantage.
Have some creative pasta.
Ha! 10!
Nice!
Yeah, you actually managed to make a fairly decent pasta dish.
Hell yeah! Maybe if we feed this to Alan, this will count. You'll be really
It's
woozy.
very garlicky, but
Yeah.
it's.
You'll be really woozy after like the blood loss and the shots. Like, we've made him a nice meal.
We were trying to take care of him, yeah.
Yeah.
Home cooking.
It's good for the soul and the blood.
So, as you do all that. After a while, your grandparents return with Alan. Alan, you enter the house. It smells very strongly of garlic right now, but also like there's a nice smell of a nice meal.
Alan, we were worried about you and we made you some pasta.
I thought you'd be hungry after your adventures.
Oh, I'm hungry, all right.
Oh no.
Come on, he's like,
Yeah.
Nice. Is it good?
I think it's pretty good. Essie got a 10 on that. That's pretty decent pasta, I'd say.
It's got like a nice cream sauce happening, like a sort of bechamel thing, and there's a good strong garlic. It's simple, but elegantly delicious.
We've done it in like home economics class.
Yeah, Grandma said, oh, that's very lovely of you girls. Thank you so much. And it is actually nice. It's actually very nice bowl of pasta.
Score. Nice job, Essie.
And when you finish eating, Grandma, she's very much fussing over it. Like, as she was very angry with Alan in the morning, she's now all over him. Could eat some more, please? Would you like some more sweets?
Oh, I could use some sugar.
Jesus Christ.
Please stop.
Please stop being a hardy 13-year-old.
You know that's impossible.
Chloe is rapidly going, I do not get the appeal with boys. my friends have talked about them and I don't get it. And I'm getting it less and less as it goes on.
I get it. I just don't get the appeal of a man in his 40s.
Or older. I think 40s is being generous.
I like talking about Tim.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like Alucard doesn't look to be in his 40s. He looks to be in like late 20s.
That's still old.
That's still old for a
Essie.
teenager, yeah.
Might as well be 50.
Yeah. Well, in fact, he's like centuries old. But
Well, Twilight has taught us that age is just a number.
I'm thinking that after seeing him with my cousin.
Yeah.
Eventually, Grandma is taking you. Like, Alan, you should really go to bed. You should go to sleep now. You should rest.
That's a good idea.
I will offer to help him down the stairs to the basement. And try and, like, hide some garlic under his bed. Just trying to, like, garlic-proof Alan as much as possible.
So, you're putting garlic under the bed. Yeah, I say you can do this. You can do this after Grandma like leaves Alan there to sleep. She thanks you, like, thank you so much for making some food for Alan. Poor boy. I really shouldn't have let you go out when there's some animal running around.
I mean, it was very interesting. I learned a lot about photography.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but you should be more careful. I think until this matter is resolved, you shouldn't be going on your own that far.
Mentally thinking, but we didn't go on our own. But I don't say that because I'm not talking back to Grandma.
Yeah. Well, she kind of thinks like, oh, this man, what was I thinking? Letting him take the three of you. Of course, he couldn't take care of you. You see, she blames herself a lot.
It's not your fault. I don't think any of us took the wild animal attack seriously. I'm trying to make her feel better.
Roll your sociability. Difficulty 8.
Oh boy. That's a 4.
For she's like, oh, you're so lovely, Chloe. You're so nice. Thank you. But you see that she is still feeling like she clearly failed, and Alan got hurt, and she's devastated by
Oh, no.
this.
Mentally going, I will kill Mr. Alucard for you, Grandma. I will make sure no more wild animal attacks happen. I cannot have Grandma blaming herself.
So you, like Alan, you are falling asleep. You are gonna fall asleep immediately. You are exhausted. You can roll physicality to try to stay awake if you would like.
I know that's not going to work.
Essie, Chloe, what are you up to? What is your intention here? What do you want to do with? Have you put garlic in there? I assume you left the window open.
Probably opened it to get a breeze.
What now?
Should we try hiding so Alan's room is in the basement. So we can't just wait to see if we hear something. So do we have to wait outside, do you think?
Maybe.
Okay.
There's lots of bushes in Grandma and Grandpa's back garden. We could always
And
hide
pear
behind
trees
them.
and
Yeah. We could hide behind something.
let's do that.
Okay. I guess we're sneaking out again.
Roll your physicality.
Okay. I've got the third 10 in a row for physicality for some reason. Honestly,
Yeah, you basically acrobatic out of.
This girl should be in the gymnast team.
I think at this point, like, Chloe has been doing some climbing.
Yeah, Chloe's maybe on the gymnastics team.
Yeah.
5?
Essie, on the other hand, takes a bit of a tumble and makes a little bit of noise.
I'm hiding behind a bush.
And you hear the door open, and Grandpa, like, oh, is anyone there? What's going on? And he's sort of looking around.
I'm gonna hide.
Essie comes out and just sorry, I wasn't ready to go to sleep. I wanted to just, be out here in the garden.
He's looking to you. Yeah, I get that. You know what? You stay out here. Just don't wander off, please.
I promise.
I'm not gonna tell Grandma. And in fact, I might go for a little bit of a walk myself.
Okay, Grandpa.
I need to clear my head. And you're waiting in the garden. And you see, after a while, you're waiting a little bit. You're getting a bit tired yourself now. But you can stay up, no problem. You've stayed too much later hours before.
I've got video camera at the ready for whenever something happens.
You have a video camera at the ready. And you see Mr. Alucard start walking down the street, talking to your grandpa. They must have clearly met somewhere in town, and they're now in the conversation. And they are walking, and Mr. Alucard is very apologetic and very charming. Do you want to sneak up and overhear?
I presume he's just saying the usual excuses that grown-ups seem to believe, so...
Pretty much, yes. You actually do hear them talk about, poison, that's what I thought. Good thinking, good thinking. They taught us that back in the Boy Scouts.
Okay.
I'm so angry.
That's what
really
Lord Baden
mad.
Powell taught us.
I'm getting so annoyed with this vampire.
And you see that you roll your luckiness, please.
Fuck.
Both of us, or
Well, where are you sneaking up?
no?
Then just Chloe.
I don't know what other weird powers this vampire has. At this point, she's thinking she might just have to stake the fucker.
Oh my god. I got a 6 on my d6.
You got a 6. All right. So, so you don't think you're noticed at all. But you see them engaged in conversation. And you see Mr. Alucard look towards the house and then to your grandma and smile. You know, the kids. It's good that they're careful. I'm very sorry. I know how it must have looked. I panicked, I admit.
Glaring daggers at him from the bush I'm hiding in.
And of course, I understand. This kid had a problem with you from the start. They seem to think there's something wrong with you. I think they're just, I don't know. You know, kids get these weird ideas in their heads.
Grandpa, you've betrayed us.
But they're very good kids. It's like, oh, of course they are. Tell you what, you clearly look stressed. Why don't you come? We can have a drink together, relax.
Oh shit. Okay, I'm now actually panicking.
And Grandma is like looking to his house. Well, yeah, I think I could use that. You seem like a fine young man. And you see him walk with Mr. Alucard towards his house.
Okay, the moment I'm not going to be obvious, I'm running to Essie. Grandpa's going into Mr. Alucard's house.
No.
We need to stop that.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Essie, well, okay, so player question. Do we want to try to somehow use this to get evidence, or do we just want to stop Grandpa from going in the house?
I mean, preferably I don't want Grandpa getting bitten by Mr. Alucard.
But then he might be more likely to believe us.
I mean, people seem to be really open to believing any nonsense that comes out of his mouth, so I don't know.
That's fair. Okay, then Essie's gonna get up out of the garden, walk over, and just go.
Before that,
yeah,
Alan, you wake up hearing someone talking outside your window. And you realize it's your cousins, and you hear something about your grandma and Mr. Alucard and stopping somebody.
How tired am I?
You're pretty tired. You can choose to ignore it, or you can choose to kind of come up to the window or shout something to them.
What are you doing?
Jesus! Alan! Oh, Mr. Alucard is somehow convinced Grandma to go. Was it Grandma or Grandpa? Grandpa. Is somehow convinced Grandpa to go into his house, and he might bite. He might bite her or him. Sorry.
I mean, he's incredibly charming. It's not hard.
What is with your thing for Mr. Alucard? Like he's creepy.
Oh my god, no, he's amazing. Here, help me out. Let's break into his house.
Okay, so as I don't know what to do now.
I have holy water.
What?
Do you have the Bible?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe just come in and say, I don't know.
Throw holy water on him and see what happens.
We don't have any holy water. I couldn't get any.
She can make it, right?
Is that? I don't know how you do that. Do you know how you do that?
I think I just bless it.
Is there a family cross or crucifix on the wall anywhere?
There would be, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna just take that with us.
We just take that, yeah.
Right. Well, one moment. Can I like go and grab the garlic again?
Yeah. I mean, like Alan can also
Also,
take it
which
from
one of you
under the
covered my
bed.
room in garlic?
Pardon?
Which one of you covered my room in garlic?
Listen,
All
we
my
got.
clothes smell like garlic now.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
You're welcome. If it stops creepy vampires from biting you, we have video evidence of this, by the way. Like it was not a wild animal attack, and you are acting really weird.
I've always been weird, though.
No, like
Anyway, let's
that.
stop this vampire from killing Grandpa. Let's go.
Great.
Hey,
Okay.
pull me out.
I reach forward and just full body like yank Alan the window.
As I was leaving my room, I would have grabbed the steak I made earlier.
Yeah, obviously. That's absolutely fair.
We're ready to murder.
It's happening.
If it saves Grandpa, I will kill a man.
He's not a man.
I would kill a man for Grandpa. Grandpa's a national treasure. I would die for him. Anyway, yeah, we're going vampire busting, I guess.
Who are you going to call? The kids across the street.
Yup. These
Yes.
fucking losers.
So you managed to pull Alan out of the room. You're not gonna have to. You're working together. You can, between the three of you and him climbing up, you can get him out. And you see that they went into the house.
Is that top window still open?
Yeah.
Cool. Can I give Alan a boost to get up to it?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. That will give him an advantage.
Here, buddy. Let's try and get you.
Thanks, cuz. 4? What's my roll again, right?
Yeah.
4.
Damn it!
He's
rolled
not
a
going up.
D6.
He seems too weak. Like you're pushing him up, and he just can't
Oh, no,
hold
wait.
on to a branch.
Let's use the rubbish bin to help me get up.
No, you're not going anywhere near that bin. Okay,
No,
I'm climbing up and I'm pulling him up because I think that's going to be easier.
Roll your physicality, difficulty 8.
Cool. I have a 9. It's not a 10.
You actually managed to pull him up the tree.
I just like grab him by the scruff of the neck and like really irritatedly like yank him. It's not graceful, but it is getting him up there.
Wow, you're
Essie,
almost
are
as
you
strong
climbing
as
the
Vlad.
tree as well?
I'm the buff cousin, apparently.
Apparently, yes.
Yeah. Cool.
So, Essie, you watch that happening. As first, Chloe tries to push like Alan up the tree, help him climb. He's completely useless, and then she climbs up and just pulls him up.
Like, get up here. And then I'll offer Essie a hand. Like, not trying to pull her bodily, but like, we'll give her a hand up.
I think with your help at this point, Essie can come up without a problem. You're amazing at it.
I've climbed this tree before. I know where to put my feet, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The buff anime nerd. Those are my things.
So you get into the house.
Sneak downstairs and try and catch Vlad in the act with the video camera and the garlic and the holy water and Bible. This is so stupid.
I think it's meant to be.
Good.
Yay. So, okay, yeah, you're sneaking down. As you are sneaking down, you are hearing Mr. Alucard talking like, if I'm to be honest, I'm a bit concerned about your grandson. He's been behaving strangely, stalking my house. You know, maybe if you had a little bit of chat with him, it would be a good idea. And Grandpa is like, well, you know, boys get up to various trouble. Maybe, I have no idea what he was doing in the trash, but maybe he's going through something. I'm sure his cousins can keep him straight.
No, we can't. Bad news, Grandpa. There's 2 gay cousins.
Yeah, I think that was an unfortunate choice of words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was loving it though.
Yeah, well, Grandpa is oblivious to that.
That's fair, and it's funny.
Mm, and they were having a bit of that conversation. Then they moved to talking about like woodworking, um, and so okay, says, yeah, I am a fan of antiques. I like to collect some things. I didn't have time to bring them over here yet. But I have quite a collection still being moved. And they talk a little bit about that, and that's the scene, as you are sort of on the stairs, and you can enter the living room if you choose to.
I mean, if it doesn't sound as though he's trying to get closer to Grandpa, I'm all for not actively causing a scene if we don't have to.
Yeah, I'm all for letting Grandpa leave peaceably because we think we're vampire hunters.
Yeah, if Mr. Alucard chooses violence, then we can also choose violence.
Well, all of you, please roll your luckiness.
Fuck.
Yeah, difficulty is standard 6.
12. 12.
12? 4?
6.
6. Okay, so the girls are fine.
That's a plus
per
with not a
usual.
12.
As per usual, Alan looks like
Alan
a stalker.
is
I have
kind
a
of weak.
D12 in luck.
What?
What?
Luck is my best stat.
How?
I don't think it's worked once.
Oh no. That's for your good rolls at the start.
Right?
I love that every time, we're around Mr. Alucard, Alan looks like the creepy stalker.
Yeah, so
Looks like.
Alan is kind of weak because Alan, you trip and you just plummet down the stairs. You're not hurt, but you're making a lot of noise.
I grab Chloe and drag her back up the stairs.
I watch in horror and then just fling a thing of garlic down the stairs after it, and then follow my cousin.
And we abandon Alan.
Again.
So you run off and abandon Alan.
I mean,
okay.
I'm all for being around the corner with the video camera if it sounds as though the garlic starts causing a problem, but
Okay, so you set up yourself with a video camera.
Around the corner, I'm not being immediately obvious.
Well, I think you can go into, you don't have to run upstairs, you can maybe go into another room or into the kitchen and set yourself up there.
I'd rather be upstairs closer to the exit.
I'm gonna say, if you're upstairs, the image isn't going to be very good because it's not super well lit.
Yeah. I don't want to be immediately obvious to anyone in the downstairs that there is a second teenager in this house.
So it's, better image, more risk, or safer?
I will let my art suffer, and I will choose to be upstairs.
Essie, are you also legging it? Okay, so Alan, you feel hurt. You just fell down the stairs. You're not quite sure what happened. And you hear your grandpa. Oh my God, Alan, what are you doing here? Just this outraged voice. It's like, I'm very sorry, Mr. Alucard. I don't know what got into this boy. He always was...
This isn't my room. I think I was sleepwalking again.
Can you believe... I'm so sorry. And he's just apologizing profusely. And Mr. Alucard's like, oh, well, I understand. Children. It's always such trouble, but don't worry. It's just take him, please. Please take care of him. He might have gotten hurt. Um,
I think
And-
Alan's just gonna cause Vlad to move away.
hmm?
I think just these constant intrusions from Alan. You need to leave me alone. Stop it.
Just Alucard eventually getting out creeped by the 13-year-old boy.
I mean, I'm fine with that end of the scenario.
Well, what actually happens is you threw
I like
darkness.
books.
Um, Chloe,
Yep,
you threw some garlic down the
I
stairs.
sure did.
I'm imagining it was like one sort of garlic head, right?
Yeah.
Roll your luckiness with
Oh
8
no.
as
Oh,
a
no.
difficulty.
I literally cannot get that. So it's 5.
Okay,
I have
right,
a D6.
Okay, in that case, Grandmasters grabs you, Alana. We're going back home. You're so grounded. You're so grounded, Alan. I can't believe. Oh my God,
I went to
you're
the
so-
hospital today.
Yes, and you. Oh my God, maybe you're feeling unwell. I'm sorry. Maybe you're feeling unwell from all that. But you're going home, and he's clearly taking. Grandpa's taking him home.
Hey, what's your favorite Bible passage, real fast?
Roll sociability.
I seem to have been abandoned by my cousin, so
But it's going to be difficulty 8.
9.
9, okay. So he does quote a Bible passage. It's something about responsible behavior.
I love it.
And yeah. But you do see, and you do see it as well, really, Mr. Alucard, as your grandpa is saying it and not looking at him at all, just go and take a step back.
Did you trip? Are you okay?
Yes, I'm quite
Grandpa,
alright.
I think Mr. Alucard might have taken a spill.
He looks fine. I'll be. Just
Someone
take the
do
boy.
something. Someone do something.
What do you want to do?
I was talking to those two.
Essie, you throw the garlic. I can't throw the garlic.
Throw the cross. I have the cross.
Throw the cross. Throw the
I have to
crucifix down.
throw the cross at him.
I throw the cross at him.
You throw the cross at him. Okay, right.
No, at this point, she might as well run down the stairs with the cross and really make sure she gets him with it. Because
So he's kind of preoccupied with that, so he isn't looking. And you start rushing down the stairs with this cross. And your grandpa is looking at this moment. And Chloe is filming, and as this is happening, Essie runs into Mr. Alucard with a cross, and he gives out this scream, and starts a bit of smoke comes out from him. And so he kind of moves back.
I would like to push the cross against his face.
Roll your physicality for that. I think it's going to be 8. It's quite difficult to get his face specifically.
Okay, so I got a 7.
Oh,
So you don't quite get his face, but you do get, he's still in smoke. You can see you catch his hand somewhere. His flesh is burning, and that there's smoke coming out. His fangs are now showing.
Can
He's
I
moving
breathe
away.
my garlic
He's
breath
saying at
in
you,
his
"How
face?"
dare you
Oh no,
influence
he's hot.
kids!"
God damn it, Ben!
And your grandma is like, "Oh my God, it's a vampire!"
Oh, fucking
That's what
totally.
I'm telling you!
Okay, I'm coming down the stairs and getting a close-up shot at this point, because fuck it.
At which point, Mr. Alucard grabs his cape and swirls it around him and disappears into a cloud of bats who fly away. But and you get that video.
This is going straight on YouTube. Sorry. No.
Masquerade is broken.
Right, it's broken by a
I'm sorry, I
13-year-old.
had to. But and John was like, "Oh my God, you were right all along. I'm so sorry, I didn't believe you." And he kind of leans against the wall, like visibly in shock. "Oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm so sorry."
Okay, Grandpa. I turn to Alan. Alan, what have we learned about strangers?
That they're all vampires?
You know what? Sure, we'll go with that.
And since you collect,
Oh, that our big cousin doesn't look out for us. That's what we learned.
Hey!
Since you
He used me as
collected your
bait.
evidence,
Yeah.
you can now you convince your grandpa, and with his help and with the help of all the evidence you have, you can convince people in the village that Mr. Alucard is in fact a vampire, and the village becomes aware of it. And everyone's like, "Oh my God, how could we not see this?" How would you like the situation to be resolved? The village will now sort of rally. I think your grandpa will want to help. It could be that Mr. Alucard just goes. It could be that you get to try to stake him with the help of your grandpa.
Grandpa's ride or die. Sorry. I mean, to be honest, given the diary entries that we've seen of him doing this repeatedly to small towns over the decades, I think getting rid of him is probably preferable to other poor, unsuspecting people. So I would personally vote for this town turning into a town of vampire hunters.
That's what I was thinking, and I love it, and I hope they all adopt like a real serious goth aesthetic.
And then we take the vampire treasure.
So they don't quite adopt the goth aesthetic, but your grandpa takes you straight to his workshop to make some more stakes just in case.
Hell yeah.
And during the day, you manage. You all, like, you go there, Mr. Fletcher is of course there, and he's kind of annoyed he wasn't the one to realize, but he wants to be involved.
I think he works with the vampire.
No, nobody's buying that. His friend, Mr. Greyhound, joins in a bit. Yes, I always thought there was something shady about this one. And Mr. Fletcher is like, shut up. And you know them, they always bicker, but they're really best friends. And no one takes them seriously when they talk about that. But you do manage with your grandpa, who does get some holy water for that purpose from the vicar, and all the town kind of goes there. You break into the house, and you discover a passage you didn't find under the stairs that leads to a secret basement, where in the newly dug out space there is a coffin in the center, wooden coffin intricately carved. And some objects, some old porcelain, old jewelry, there's some old furniture in there as well. But you open the coffin and you are able to stake the vampire with your grandpa going, "Come on, Essie, let's do this. You worked for this."
I'll film
You're the coolest grandpa ever.
And with that, you save Wymton-on-Tee.
Yay!
Yay!
Thank you so much.
Was it worth the cost?
For this crazy adventure that you played in.
Thank you so much for running. This was so much fun.
And since this is the end, let's who are you? Where can people find you when that goes online? Rosie, where are you? Where can people find you online? What do you do?
Hi, I am Rosie, regular size mom. You can find me on Twitter at mom_sized. You can also find me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok as at oddduckdice, because I love dice, so I started making them. They're fun. They make me happy. I hope they make you happy. Keep an eye out for a shop opening in June, July. And you can find me on Thursdays and Sundays over on Vorpal Tales, playing Starfinder and Mage, and also in Vorpal Tales' Patreon game of Changeling the Lost. So check those things out, and keep an eye on Big Dad Industries, because technocracy, I'm in that too. Have a good one.
Awesome. And Ben, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Ben, Big Dad, Chief Yeoman of Big Dad Industries. It's a real title. I play Yanina on Ruins of Warsaw. I'm the Brute Ha. I do a lot of GMing on my channel. A lot of GMing. I run games on my channel when I feel like it. It's where I put weird stuff I want people to see. Check it out or not. I don't care. You'll also catch me on Vorpal Tales doing stuff, other places. And if you have Patreon money, you can check out the Horror on the Orient Express game I'm in, which is a nightmare.
Right.
I may be directly responsible for another player character's death, and I got away with it.
And Faye.
Hi. Yes. Hi, I'm Faye. You can find me under the name The Hat Is Here on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I play Bea in Ruins of Warsaw. I'm generally seen in a red wig. Other than that, what do? I write a lot of shit posts on Twitter. That's like 90% of what I do. And I occasionally film fun TikToks and post a lot of selfies to Instagram.
Thank you all so much for playing in this crazy adventure. I'm Alexandra. I am a storyteller for the Ruins of Warsaw here on the Lamias. And that was my venture into something lighter and more comedic, which was very fun, if a wild ride. You can find me on Twitter at Xandra_BR. I also write games, and I wrote a game called Wise Women, which is about, it's inspired by Eastern European folklore, and it's about witches using plant magic to protect their community. So if you're interested in that kind of vibe, you can check it out.
It's really cool.
Your art is great.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, and yeah, goodbye. That's for the recording.